Chapter 2047. I'm your ancestor. When they saw Lin Feng penetrate into the ground, the cultivators were stunned and said icily, "Be careful, he going to travel underground." "Yes, freeze the ground," said a strong cultivator of the Snow Clan. The strong cultivators of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan were protecting Lin Feng. The Snow Clan cultivators landed on the ground and punched the ground, which started freezing with a loud crackling. If Lin Feng was underground, he had to freeze too. He couldn't escape. "Holy Emperor Ling, if you don't leave, we'll attack the members of the Holy Spirit Dynasty," said someone icily. Maybe one dynasty would have feared the Holy Spirit Dynasty, but now they had formed an alliance. They didn't care about the Holy Spirit Dynasty anymore. Even if the Holy Spirit Dynasty wanted to get their revenge someday, they could call their families, and that would be the Holy Spirit Dynasty's Judgment Day. Therefore, they didn't mind oppressing the Holy Spirit Dynasty together. Maybe they would manage to destroy one dynasty too. So many dynasties are joining hands to fight against our Holy Dynasty Prince. Ridiculous. Since it's that way, we don't need to be polite, don't worry. We won't attack Lin Feng, but he won't escape today, said a voice icily. They had to stop the Holy Spirit Dynasty and the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, so the Snow Clan would be able to focus on Lin Feng. The members of Wang Jian's clan wouldn't let Lin Feng off, either. A terrifying strength began to build. The Great War burst out. The members of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan were all surrounding Lin Feng. They made some hand seals, and many ancient imprints appeared. Marks appeared on the snowy ground. A golden palace appeared, lofty and indestructible. There was a boom as a powerful attack crashed onto the palace, but it remained unaffected. "Humph. Is that useful?" said an icy voice, as a terrifying strength condensed. A gigantic spear descended from the sky, a destructive whirlwind around it. It crashed onto the palace and cracks appeared. "Crush him," said a few people at the same time. Destructive strength bombarded the palace. Finally, loud sounds spread in the air. The palace finally started breaking apart. However, at the same time, destructive strength blotted out the sky again. The members of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan are way too insolent. They must die. Die! The strong cultivators of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan were less numerous than the others. They couldn't possibly resist for too long. Lin Feng was in the ground. There was someone watching all those strong cultivators at the entrance of the hole he was in. A new shattering sound spread in the air. The ice which obstructed the hole broke apart, and ancient qi rose up into the air. What's going on? The Holy Spirit Dynasty's person, who was protecting everyone, was startled. Some qi was emerging from the hole. She was shocked. Her soul felt a severe pressure. It was a truly ancient qi. "Is that Lin Feng's qi?" She was astonished. At that moment, the members of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan moved aside. 3 people surrounded the members of the Holy Spirit Dynasty. One of them punched out at them. The atmosphere seemed like it was going to break apart. The Holy Emperor's concubine was stupefied. She jumped into the incoming hurricane, waving her hand and breaking the wind apart. However, at that moment, a gigantic hand grabbed towards her. She was being attacked from every side. The concubine suddenly turned into a light beam, moving her hands rapidly. However, she was still chased from the hole. Someone smiled coldly in the sky and dove towards the hole at full speed. Kacha! The hole was being bombarded and grew wider. It became gigantic, and Lin Feng should have appeared in their field of vision. When the ice completely broke apart, the strong cultivator was astonished. He didn't see Lin Feng at all. He saw a gigantic creature. It was a giant 3 zhang tall. He was standing there, as tall as a building. His qi was ancient and becoming stronger and stronger. Force kept appearing and condensing around him, turning into a hurricane of power. The descending cultivator above the giant was astonished and started to shake. He couldn't oppress that giant, and quickly stopped descending. The others were astonished too. Why wasn't it Lin Feng? Why was there a giant? They had seen Lin Feng go into the hole. Where was he now? Who or what was that giant? At that moment, the giant raised his head, and light beams emerged from his eyes. He looked up at the cultivator in the sky above him, which made the man shiver even more. It was an ancient Peerless cultivator, and his eyes were burning with violence. The giant jumped out of the hole. His feet were gigantic. He grabbed towards the cultivator above him. The cultivator above the giant was a celestial emperor, but he didn't feel like fighting against a giant, so he tried to escape. However, the giant stretched out his hand, and a gigantic imprint appeared, oppressing the whole region. The celestial emperor shouted desperately. That attack had oppressed everyone. At the same time, the giant stretched out his gigantic hand and grabbed the cultivator. The cultivator had the impression he was going to suffocate. No! The celestial emperor shouted furiously. He was going crazy. The giant had grabbed him, and now he couldn't move anymore. At that moment, the atmosphere became eerily calm again. The giant looked like a saint. Was he a saint from the ancient days? No, that's... The Qin dynasty's holy emperor was astonished and staring at the giant. That Qi the giant, impossible. The giant was holding the celestial emperor, who looked tiny in comparison with him. He was desperate and shouted, "Master, I didn't do anything. Please forgive me." "I thought you wanted to kill me," said the giant calmly. The crowd started shaking violently. The voice was completely different, but that was Lin Feng's way of speaking. How is that possible? Some people couldn't believe their eyes and trembled. Lin Feng was extraordinary, but how could he control a giant's body? That wasn't Lin Feng's body. That was the body of an ancient saint. Lin Feng had definitely obtained it in the saint's world. But how? How could Lin Feng control a giant's body? The holy emperor of the Holy Spirit dynasty was astonished too. Lin Feng could control a saint's body? They had no explanation. Even if Lin Feng could control such a body, where did the qi and strength come from? They didn't understand. Ah! A loud shout spread in the air. The giant crushed the cultivator in his hand. His muscles, bones, flesh started crackling. The pain was unbearable. They couldn't imagine how painful it was. A soul emerged. The cultivator wanted to escape, but the giant immediately grabbed the soul too. He crushed the body and the soul of the cultivator. He had destroyed a celestial emperor that easily. "It's a saint, it's a peerless cultivator," said someone in astonishment and terror. The Qin holy emperor looked at the giant and asked, "Are you really Lin Feng?" The giant turned around and looked at the Qin holy emperor of the Qin dynasty. The holy emperor didn't flee. He was staring at the giant as he said, "I'm the holy emperor of the Qin dynasty, Qin Shan's descendant." He was convinced that Lin Feng couldn't control such a body without a saint's help. The giant raised his hands, but the holy emperor continued staring at him. He clenched his fists. People had cold sweats, worried for the Qin holy emperor. "Holy emperor!" shouted a strong cultivator of the Qin dynasty. However, the Qin holy emperor remained motionless. Suddenly, he was forced away as the giant said icily, "I'm your ancestor Qin Shan." Chapter 2048. "Change, I'm your ancestor Qin Shan," said the voice, which made Qin Gan tremble. The giant grabbed Qin Gan and threw him away. The crowd was astonished, especially the members of the Qin dynasty. At that moment they all pulled a long face. They were staring at the giant in confusion. Their ancestor? The Qin dynasty's ancestor wasn't dead? The giant really had the body of a saint. Nobody had doubts about that. He looked majestic. He was as tall as a building. Was that really their ancestor? If that was the case, if he hadn't died, then the Qin dynasty was going to become the ruler of Qi Tian Holy Town, and even the region of the dynasty. Those days in the Dark Night region, even holy emperors were rare, and it was almost impossible to see a saint, but nobody had doubts that they existed. The saints couldn't all be dead. The crowd was convinced that nobody could be stronger than a saint. The giant threw Qin Gan away. Qin Gan coughed up blood. He wasn't angry, however, he was touched and moved. It was his ancestor, a saint, and the saint was incredibly strong. He could have popped his skull with his fingers. He started thinking that in that body, there was Lin Feng's consciousness as well as Qin Shan. Lin Feng couldn't possibly be as strong as a saint. "Ancestor," said Qin Gan, bowing before the giant. Everybody was astonished. Nobody understood what was going on. They had been chasing Lin Feng. Now, a saint had appeared, and it was the ancestor of the Qin dynasty. Qin Gan believed it himself. "Ancestor." The strong cultivators of the Qin dynasty all bowed respectfully before their ancestor. The giant's eyes twinkled. Lin Feng was the main controller. Qin Shan's thread of consciousness was just helping. Lin Feng was really using the giant's body. He felt perfect inside actually. His soul wasn't shaking even the slightest iota. The body was very responsive. The members of the Qin dynasty were Qin Shan's descendants. Lin Feng was controlling their ancestors' strength at that moment. Lin Feng couldn't kill the members of the Qin dynasty using Qin Shan's body. That would have been extremely disrespectful. Therefore Lin Feng just wanted to teach Qin Gong a good lesson. He glanced at all the members of the Qin dynasty, but remained silent. However, they all felt under pressure because of that silence. The members of the Snow clan had already gathered together, wanting to protect Shui Ao. An old man said using telepathy, "Get ready to leave." They all understood that they couldn't face a saint. The members of the Snow clan weren't the only ones who wanted to leave. The others who had come to surround Lin Feng did the same. Therefore, when the giant looked at the members of the Snow clan, it was as if something was about to explode. Snowflakes appeared everywhere, and the members of the Snow clan disappeared into the snow. A terrifying strength filled the air. When the snowflakes disappeared, the giant saw that the members of the Snow clan were gone. Everybody realized that Lin Feng wasn't going to die today. Without the Snow clan's help, nobody could do anything against him. The Moon Palace's members also released golden lights and disappeared inside, leaving without hesitation. A saint was there, after all. Let's go. Progressively, more and more people started leaving. However, at that moment, the giant looked at the members of Wang Jian's clan, and a terrifying strength rose up. "Go. You came here, you think you can leave that easily?" said the giant icily yet mockingly. The air hummed. The giant took a step, and a second one, and a third one. With each step, he could move 10,000 meters. "Block!" shouted the members of Wang Jian's clan, releasing their qi. They all turned into swords and moved as fast as they could. However, at the same time, the giant followed them and condensed an ancient qi. The giant took out a gigantic ancient bell and rang it once. Many people coughed up blood instantly. At the same time, the swords had the feeling they were stuck in moving sand. The giant took another step and appeared in front of those people. A terrible strength seemed to lock the air in place. Their muscles stiffened. The terrifying ancient qi was absorbing the force of the earth and sky. Those who were trying to escape struggled futilely. "No!" shouted someone in panic. The gigantic bell crushed cultivators one after another. Their bodies exploded, and their souls dispersed. Someone managed to dodge, and moved away at full speed. It was a Saint Emperor. Lin Feng ignored him. He knew he could control the body perfectly, but he couldn't catch up with him. Otherwise he could have crushed him. A Saint Emperor was nothing in front of a saint. Escaping would have been impossible. Sure, Zhu Laoxian drank booze while crushing Saint Emperors. The other members of Wang Jian's clan didn't manage to escape, and all died there. Then, the giant looked back at the others, and realized that everybody was far away. Celestial emperors were indeed extremely fast. Of course, the members of the Qin dynasty were still there. They raised their heads and all looked at their ancestor. "Someone will have to pay the price today," said the giant indifferently. He hadn't talked very loudly, but people in the distance heard him and shivered. Who was going to pay the price? The dynasties and some ancient holy clans had sent people to kill Lin Feng. Who was responsible for that? Lin Feng had used the saint's help. He wouldn't be able to do it again for a long time. And maybe he would never have such an opportunity again. He had to cherish that opportunity. Could he just chase those people? Would they stop harassing him in the future? He had to be crazy. He had to make Qi Tian Holy Town shake violently. They had to remember him forever. He had to teach them a good lesson. Dong. The giant made another step. The crowd shook violently. Where was the giant going? The members of the Qin dynasty were stupefied. They gathered behind Qin Gong and said, "Holy Emperor, is that really our ancestor?" "Of course. Do you think we would be able to stay here and stay safe and sound otherwise?" said Qin Gong. He had no doubts anymore. The only problem was that their ancestor liked Lin Feng too. The Holy Emperor of the Holy Spirit dynasty took a deep breath. He was astonished. A saint. He had never thought Lin Feng would be helped by a saint. Yan Di remained calm and composed. He laughed and said, "Little boy, have you seen that? That's my disciple. Soon he'll be as famous as me." When Fu Hei heard Yan Di, he thought, "Since when is master famous?" And that was a saint. The imperial concubine looked at the giant in the distance. She was trembling. Where was Lin Feng? She turned around and looked at the hole again. The members of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, including Yan Di, were still there. That Taoist priest was certifiably crazy, but he was also enigmatic and unfathomable. Even though she didn't know what had happened to Lin Feng, she knew that he had secrets. She just stood there calmly and watched. In the Tianxi dynasty, the ground kept shaking violently. People raised their heads and looked at the giant in astonishment. What was going on? Why was the giant coming to the Tianxi dynasty? No cultivator from their dynasty could compete with the giant. Finally, when the giant arrived, Holy Emperor Tianxi landed in front of it, his face deathly pale. He looked much older suddenly. The saint had chosen their Tianxi dynasty to vent his anger? "Master, what are you going to do?" asked Holy Emperor Tianxi. He didn't know what to do against such a cultivator. They were going to die if nobody helped them. He already didn't dare fight against Shui Ao. And in front of a saint, he was a nobody. "The Tianxi dynasty needs to change their holy emperor," said the giant calmly. He sounded like he was talking about something ordinary. With one simple sentence, he could decide a holy emperor's fate. The holy emperor had to be changed. Chapter 2049. Consequences. Holy Emperor Tianxi looked up at the giant, terrified. He had followed the Snow Clan to kill Lin Feng, and now the consequences were tragic. He was facing a saint who was telling him his time as Holy Emperor was done. He sounded calm and aloof, but Holy Emperor Tianxi understood that he was probably going to die. So many dynasties had joined hands to kill Lin Feng, and Lin Feng had in return summoned a saint. For Holy Emperor Tianxi, this was a real tragedy. If the saint was furious, he could make him fall and turn to dust. He knew the saint had that power. How tragic, but it was reality. "I want to know whether you're Lin Feng or Qin Shan," said Holy Emperor Tianxi. He was going to die, so he wanted to know who was going to kill him. "I'm Lin Feng and the saint," said the giant emotionlessly. Holy Emperor Tianxi nodded and gave all his possessions to an old man who was standing next to him. "Holy Emperor," said the old man, his face stiff. "Uncle, you can be the Holy Emperor for now. Chen and Piao Shui have potential. In the future you can choose them, or someone else," said Holy Emperor Tianxi. The old man next to him looked extremely sad. "All right, even without me, the Tianxi dynasty will remain the Tianxi dynasty," said Holy Emperor Tianxi with a sad smile. He walked up to Lin Feng and said, "You want to kill me for what happened today, you're right. But no matter what, you will end up like me sooner or later." Then, Holy Emperor Tianxi closed his eyes, ready to meet death. Everyone remained silent in the Tianxi dynasty. The cultivators gathered there all stared at the giant. The giant raised his hand and brought it down. Even when he was crushed, the members of the Tianxi dynasty could scarcely believe it had really happened. Lin Feng left the Tianxi dynasty. He couldn't stay like this much longer. He had killed the holy emperor of the Tianxi dynasty to prove to everyone that they couldn't do whatever they wished to him. Everybody in Qitian Holy Town would now understand that. As Lin Feng had expected, when Holy Emperor Tianxi died, the news quickly spread everywhere in Qitian Holy Town. Nobody said anything. Everyone held their tongues. There was too much pressure. The dynasties were too scared. Their holy emperors, elders, and families could die. Holy Emperor Tianxi had died. Nobody talked about Lin Feng anymore. Saying Lin Feng's name became taboo. All of that was due to the saint's existence. People in Qitian Holy Town realized how strong saints were. Of course, many people felt even more determined. They all wanted to transcend worldliness, attain holiness, and look at saint emperors like insects. Lin Feng went back to the battlefield and sank back into the ground. His holy qi dispersed and disappeared. In the ground, Lin Feng went into his spirit's world and left the saint's body. He had the sensation his head was going to explode. He felt extremely weak and sick. With the strength of the Huang Qi layer, using a saint's body was exhausting. Without the saint's consciousness, he couldn't have done it. Yendi was waiting on the ground outside. He narrowed his eyes and looked at the hole. He was wondering whether taking Lin Feng away was the best solution or not. Up in the sky, two people were seated on a cloud, lights gathered around them. They had seen everything. They made an odd couple. One of them had an alcohol gourd and looked nonchalant. The other one was a beautiful woman. "Teacher, will he be all right?" the woman asked the drunkard. The drunkard didn't reply hastily. He took a sip of liquor and said, "No problem for now. But in the future, it will be a huge problem." "What do you mean?" "Lin Feng is facing many problems. For now, nobody in Qitian Holy Town will dare attack him. But what about the Snow Clan?" said Shiju Laoxian calmly. The woman was startled. "Teacher, would the Snow Clan dare send a saint to fight against Lin Feng?" Qing Feng couldn't imagine what it meant to be a peerless cultivator. "You are young. You don't understand how priceless a saint's body is, especially a body which still has a consciousness," said Shiju Laoxian indifferently. He understood precisely how Lin Feng had used a saint's strength. He knew that the Snow Clan's members also understood that. "Lin Feng shouldn't have used the saint's strength?" asked Qing Feng. She was stunned. He would have died if he hadn't. Lin Feng didn't do anything wrong. But the real problem is that no matter what, he didn't have any good option, said Shiju Laoxian calmly. He took another sip, looking detached from worldly affairs. "Teacher, why?" asked Qing Feng, staring at Shiju Laoxian. "Why I didn't help Lin Feng before he used the saint's body?" asked Shiju Laoxian with a smile. Qing Feng said nothing, but Shiju Laoxian tapped her head and smiled. "If I helped and protected each time he has a problem, how could he become stronger? Besides, I'm not with him all the time. He has to find solutions to his problems himself. All peerless cultivators have to go through uncountable hardships to grow strong." "What you mean is that Lin Feng will become a peerless cultivator?" deduced Qing Feng, her eyes twinkling. Her teacher thought highly of Lin Feng. "I never said that." Shiju Laoxian grinned. "However, having used the strength of a saint is something amazing for him. It has many advantages." "Teacher, what if a saint of the Snow Clan attacks Lin Feng? He will definitely die," Qing Feng asked him. "All right, for my good disciple, I'll offend the Snow Clan only once," said Shiju Laoxian, shaking his head. Qing Feng looked at him strangely and whispered, "What does that have to do with me?" "Ah, well then, I'd be happy to have a rest." "I'm not getting involved then," said Shiju Laoxian, laying down on the cloud and continuing to drink. "Teacher," said Qing Feng, rolling her eyes and pouting. Shiju Laoxian just laughed and said, all right, don't worry. I'll help him one last time. But I'll offend the Snow Clan, and it won't be fun in the future. In the future, he'll have to rely on himself." "Thank you very much, teacher," smiled Qing Feng. Since her teacher had said he would help Lin Feng, he was going to help. Lin Feng's soul strength moved back into his body, and he began to slowly recover. His soul didn't shake violently anymore. Then he came out of the hole. "Little boy, you must feel great, right?" chortled Yendi, smiling at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was bemused. Feel great? His soul had almost exploded. Using the saint's strength was incredibly dangerous. "I want to go back to the Holy Spirit dynasty." "I think it's over," said Lin Feng. However, the old Taoist priest shook his head and said, "You can't go back to the Holy Spirit dynasty." "Why?" Lin Feng asked. "You must think about the consequences now," said Yendi. Lin Feng didn't understand. "Who will dare attack me now?" asked Lin Feng. "The Snow Clan's saint," explained Yendi. Lin Feng frowned and remained silent for a few seconds. "If a saint really wants to attack me, where should I go? And will the Snow Clan really send a saint to fight against me?" "All right, go back to the Holy Spirit dynasty then," said Yendi. Lin Feng shook his head. He didn't understand. "Go back. If you have to face him, you'll face him sooner or later," said the old Taoist priest. Then he said, "Good heavens," again. Lin Feng didn't understand. If the Snow Clan really sent a saint to fight against him, he could activate the memories he had received from the diviner of the Destiny Shrine, and say he was from the Destiny Shrine. Chapter 2050. The evil influence remains. He was seated cross-legged on a blue Uptala lotus in his spirit world. Cosmic strength kept rotating around him. There were the cosmic energies of the 10,000 things of creation. Without the heavenly grace ancient tree and the blue Uptala lotus, Lin Feng wouldn't have been able to progress so fast in terms of cosmic energies. Lin Feng was thoughtful. Zun cultivators break through to the Huangqi layer when their force is multiplied by 1,000. After that, their body fuses together with the earth and sky around them. However, the real force of the earth and sky is unlimited. When saints move, force keeps condensing around them, and hurricanes appear around them. The strength of the earth and sky is like their own. They just have to move their hand to use it, muttered Lin Feng. After controlling the saint's body, that was the feeling he had experienced. Saints had no limits. It had been a wonderful sensation. They could also control people's souls. When he controlled his own body, he had no problems, and there was nothing unpleasant. He was in harmony with his own body. But when he controlled the saint's body, Lin Feng realized how incredible a human soul was. He needed to become so much stronger to become a peerless cultivator. They belonged to a completely different world. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised because he had been cleansed 3 times by Devamara Kulpa strength as a high-level emperor, and he had become stronger after controlling the saint's body. However, after recovering, his demon skills had become stronger yet again. After that, Lin Feng went back into the demon pond and cleansed his Devamara physical body. His physical body was becoming ever more terrifying. Lin Feng knew that because he had controlled the saint's body, it was easier for him to become physically stronger. He felt even better physically. His soul and body had become stronger. Lin Feng was even more determined and felt even more optimistic about his future. He kept progressing quickly. At the same cultivation level, nobody could compete with him in terms of physical strength. He was seated cross-legged on the blue Uptala lotus, and after that, a weapon pattern appeared behind him. He had absorbed it with his spirit and had it mix with his blood. His chi had finally calmed down. Meng Qing was seated not far from him and smiled. "Little Zhetian, look at your father. He's doing so much for you, come out quickly." "Haha, he will also come out quickly." When Meng Qing heard Lin Feng, she smiled. Lin Feng stopped practicing cultivation and landed next to Meng Qing. He touched Meng Qing's belly and sensed something move. "Little boy, listen to your mom or I'll scold you when you come out," smiled Lin Feng. Meng Qing laughed. "Don't scare our baby, otherwise he won't come out." "Lin Feng, will the Snow Clan attack you?" Meng Qing asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng initially didn't intend to tell Meng Qing anything, but she had to know. Lin Feng had just told her a few things. He couldn't hide the truth from her, and her perception was quite acute. The Snow Clan was her native clan, and known to be powerful. "Don't worry, you can rely on me." Lin Feng smiled. Meng Qing put her hands on Lin Feng's face and looked at him gently. "If you can't survive, I can go back to the Snow Clan. Your safety is the most important thing. I have a celestial king-type body. The Snow Clan won't do anything to me." "Silly girl," said Lin Feng, caressing Meng Qing's cheeks in return. He kissed her on the lips. They both smiled, understanding each other without talking. "Lin Feng, do you think Lin Zhetian will look more like you or me?" Meng Qing put her head on Lin Feng's shoulder and smiled. "It would be better if he looked more like you," replied Lin Feng cheerfully. Meng Qing laughed and wondered, "Will he be like you? Will he travel all around the world and offend many women like you?" Lin Feng laughed and said, "Haha, wouldn't it be great? Aren't you afraid that it could affect his cultivation? Some people are determined. Some people are solitary too. Some people are confident and at ease. Other people solely focus on cultivation. It always depends on people." Lin Feng was different from many people. He smiled. "Look at those holy emperors and holy concubines. You envy them?" asked Meng Qing. "My wife is like a celestial being. How could I envy them? Other people envy me." Lin Feng laughed back. He knew that Meng Qing was joking. They were two people who were really in love. They had gone through so much together. However, some people didn't intend to let Lin Feng off. Some Snow Clan cultivators landed in the Tianxi dynasty, where there was a new holy emperor, the previous holy emperor's uncle. When he saw them, he didn't look as happy as in the past. "We suffered great losses. What do you want now?" asked the Holy Emperor impolitely. The Snow Clan cultivators frowned and one of them said, "Our saint is on his way. He'll arrive within 3 days." The Holy Emperor was petrified, and his heart started pounding. A saint? The Snow Clan had said one sentence, and it sufficed to scare them to death. A saint from the Snow Clan was going to come to town? So what does that have to do with the Tianxi dynasty? Asked the new Holy Emperor. He tried to remain calm and composed. Last time, the dynasties and the ancient holy clans surrounded Lin Feng, and then let him escape. That won't happen a second time, said the Snow Clan cultivator calmly. Let him escape? The Holy Emperor smiled coldly. The Snow Clan was really shameless. The Snow Clan had fled first. A second time? You mean that we'll surround Lin Feng again? Asked the Holy Emperor, not understanding their point of view. Indeed, said the strong cultivator of the Snow Clan. He didn't realize the Holy Emperor found him ridiculous, and just nodded calmly. The Holy Emperor said coldly, "Since your saint is coming, why do we need to waste time? We need Lin Feng to use the saint's body, and we need you to deal with Lin Feng, you understand?" Asked the Snow Clan cultivator. The Holy Emperor was stupefied. The Snow Clan wanted Lin Feng to use the saint's body again, and give them a reason to send a saint. Why doesn't the saint attack directly? Why do you need someone to provoke the situation? Asked the Holy Emperor. If our saint attacks Lin Feng directly, he won't use the saint's body directly, explained the Snow Clan cultivator indifferently before starting to walk away. Some strong cultivators from my clan have already gone to the other dynasties and ancient holy clans. Of course you can refuse, but the consequences will be, hee, said that man with a laugh before leaving. The Holy Emperor was furious. The Tianxi dynasty's Holy Emperor had already died, and now they wanted to start again. I will inform you when the right time comes. You can decide whether you want to join or not then, the Snow Clan cultivator said while leaving. The Holy Emperor was furious, but could he refuse? Chapter 2051. Lin Feng is dead. Qin Gong from the Qin dynasty arrived in the Holy Spirit dynasty. He wanted to see Lin Feng. Since there was a new connection between them thanks to the saint, the Holy Spirit dynasty accepted. What do you want from me, Qin Gong? Asked Lin Feng to the Holy Emperor calmly. I came for the saint's body. I want you to give us his body back, Qin Gong said coldly. However, Lin Feng merely grunted icily. Qin Gong wasn't furious, but said, a short time ago, the Snow Clan, the dynasties, and the ancient holy clans wanted to kill you, while the Holy Spirit dynasty protected you. The most important thing is that the Snow Clan sent a saint here for you. I don't want my ancestor's body to end up in the Snow Clan's hands. Qin Shan is our ancestor. When Lin Feng heard him, he was surprised. A saint from the Snow Clan was coming for him? Yendi was right. If I give you the body, how can you protect it? Said Lin Feng icily. I came here secretly. Give me the body and escape from Qi Tian Holy Town. The farther you go, the better. We won't say anything. That way, it would be perfect for both of us, Qin Gong said to Lin Feng. No need. If the saint comes, we'll see what happens, replied Lin Feng evenly. Please leave, Holy Emperor Qin. A terrifying strength surrounded Lin Feng, and his blood almost stopped flowing. However, when Qin Gong released that strength, another qi rolled in from outside of the courtyard and surrounded him. Watch your words, said a voice dismissively. Qin Gong didn't recall his qi. He looked at Lin Feng and said, You want my ancestor to be stolen by the Snow Clan? If you're brave, prevent them from doing so. If you have no balls, then stop talking shit. Do you want me to call your ancestor again, and make him slap your face again? Said Lin Feng icily and disdainfully. Qin Gong remained silent and grunted icily, before rising to leave. While leaving he said, Hurry and leave, or you won't have any chance to survive. After Qin Gong left, silhouettes flickered. The Holy Emperor of the Holy Spirit dynasty, and Yendi landed in front of Lin Feng. I was right, you see? The Snow Clan sent a saint. They're cruel, said Yendi. Old buddy, do you have any solution to propose? Asked Lin Feng to Yendi. Even though I am an incredibly strong cultivator, a saint is ultimately stronger than me. They can make the world collapse. They have transcended worldliness and attained holiness. I'm powerless when facing a saint, said Yendi, shaking his head. Lin Feng was mortified and said, "The other day, you didn't tell me that." This bastard, did he want Lin Feng to die? Lin Feng couldn't deal with a saint. Even if he controlled a saint's body, it wouldn't work. Now the saint was sleeping anyway, so Lin Feng couldn't even use his body. "You won't die though," said Yendi patiently. "And so many people are watching you, you can't really escape. If the Snow Clan's saint wants to find you, he'll find you easily." Lin Feng remained silent. What could he do against a saint? Champion University, the Holy Spirit Dynasty, everyone he knew, nobody could help him. Everybody looked pensive, including the Holy Spirit Holy Emperor. Lin Feng had shaken up the whole town. He had a saint's body, he had killed a holy emperor, he had made all the dynasties and the ancient holy clans shut up, and now, after a short time, he was in danger again. It was different this time, however. It was a saint who was looking for him. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan and the Holy Spirit Dynasty couldn't protect him anymore. He was doomed, it seemed. Today the Holy Spirit Dynasty was calm. The next day, a bright light appeared in the distance and illuminated the ancient town. The members of the Holy Spirit Dynasty were terrified. Many people gathered and moved together. They had to be vigilant. Lin Feng was going to die. He had survived the first battle, but this time, it was different. Many people wanted to kill Lin Feng and steal his treasures. The Holy Spirit Dynasty didn't organize a banquet this time. They just remained silent. People from Chi Tian Holy Town hadn't thought the situation would deteriorate so badly. The Tianxi Dynasty, the Great Desert Dynasty, the Ancient Jade Dynasty, and the Qin Dynasty joined hands. The Qin Dynasty still wanted Lin Feng to die, even though Qin Gan had secretly gone to see Lin Feng. Apart from the dynasties, many other people had gathered, including some groups which weren't from Chi Tian Holy Town. Lin Feng hadn't thought that the Ji clan and the Pei clan would also come. The historical remains had appeared in the Saints' world. Almost all the groups of the Dark Knight region knew about what was going on there, and were attracted. The Pei clan and the Ji clan had been paying attention to Lin Feng the whole time. He just hadn't known about it. Snowflakes appeared in the Holy Spirit Dynasty. The pressure was terrifying. Some people started panicking as it developed into a blizzard. It was extremely calm though. Many people had fled to small worlds. When a saint fought, people around could easily be killed. At the same time, some silhouettes flickered and appeared where Lin Feng was. "Since you're all here, just appear," said a loud voice. Everybody in the Holy Spirit Dynasty heard the voice. At that moment, the strong cultivators of the dynasty sensed an oppressive energy. It was even more dangerous than the previous time. Those who had failed the previous time weren't going to accept losing a second time. The atmosphere started trembling, and an earthquake started in the Holy Spirit Dynasty. Many buildings started collapsing, adding to the terror. Lin Feng raised his head, sensing the invisible and intangible strength. The strong cultivators around him formed a curtain, so he was under less pressure. "It's going to be worse than I thought," said the old Taoist priest indifferently. Lin Feng could also sense how terrifying the pressure was. "Last time, they failed and I killed a few great emperors. I even killed the holy emperor of the Tianxi dynasty. Now they're going crazy. Even without the saint, they are so furious that they could win." Lin Feng mused calmly. Yendi shook his head. The Holy Spirit Dynasty and the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan couldn't do much. Strong cultivators appeared all around. Yendi glanced at those people. He didn't understand. The Snow Clan had sent a saint. Why did they need so many people? And where was the saint? A terrifying sword appeared in the sky, surrounded by millions of arcs of lightning. It instantly crushed the curtain of energies created by all the strong cultivators. Lin Feng sensed the terrifying pressure, and was driven to his knees. "Lin Feng, you must die today," stated someone icily. He jumped forwards and some power bombarded Lin Feng's will. "Lin Feng, you're insolent. You dared kill a holy emperor. Qitian Holy Town disowns you," shouted a celestial being of the ancient Jade Dynasty. More strength attacked Lin Feng, and he coughed with pain. He was injured now. It was easy for saint emperors and celestial emperors to injure him. "They want me to use the saint's body. The saint is already here," Lin Feng realized, raising his head. It kept snowing. An old man had appeared high up in the sky, looking aloof and arrogant. He was as white as snow. He was the saint of the Snow Clan. Chapter 2052. Truth Holy Spirit Dynasty Give Up. Lin Feng is going to die, said the Holy Emperor of the Tianxi dynasty. Lin Feng had killed their previous Holy Emperor. It was a tragedy that had to be avenged. Holy Emperor Ling glanced around, the pressure on him boiling now. A strong cultivator stepped forward and terrifying fissures appeared, as if the sky were about to collapse. A light beam appeared, followed by a destructive hand. Sand exploded all around and turned into a dragon. It looked like the end of the world. Lin Feng couldn't stand up anymore. His bones kept crackling. He had the sensation the world had fallen onto his back. There wasn't going to be a second failure. Bunch of bastards. I can't stand this, said Yendi. He had cast a deployment spell, but it was already broken. The pressure was so immense that it had destroyed his deployment spell. A silhouette landed in front of Lin Feng. She was wearing a black cloak and looked graceful. She looked much taller at the moment. At her back, a gigantic pitch-black silhouette appeared as she sat down cross-legged. Holy spirits appeared and started rotating about them. Thank you very much, said Lin Feng. That woman looked fragile, but she was protecting him. He felt moved and touched. Even though they had made love, they weren't close. Up in the sky, people grunted icily. Some strong cultivators continued closing in. The pressure was getting worse and worse. What were the Holy Spirit Dynasty and the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan going to do against so many people? Their protective energies kept breaking apart, and chi spilled over. Energies kept reaching Lin Feng. If anyone tried to protect Lin Feng, they were going to kill them. Destructive Tao. Lin Feng frowned and saw an old man who was releasing destructive Tao. Lin Feng raised his head. There were many holy spirits around the woman. She reacted instantly. The destructive Tao reached one of her holy spirits and destroyed it. You can come down, they won't kill me, said Lin Feng. But you'll get injured. That would be a catastrophe, the woman answered warmly. Lin Feng didn't understand why she was being so kind to him. If you get injured, it would be worse, Lin Feng replied calmly. I won't. Don't worry, said the woman hoarsely. Lin Feng frowned. This woman was from the Holy Spirit Dynasty. He couldn't know her from someone else. But on the other hand, he had a familiar feeling. She sounded even more familiar than before. Did they know each other from somewhere else? Who are you? Asked Lin Feng. He had doubts for the first time. The woman shivered and replied, I'm Lin Qiongsheng's mother. Lin Feng remained silent. He didn't ask more, especially now that he was facing a huge danger. Cultivators focus on cultivation not because they're obsessives, but also because they want to protect themselves and their families, thought Lin Feng. That was life in the cultivation world. In the sky, the defensive energies of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan and the Holy Spirit Dynasty kept crackling. The members of the Snow Clan had also arrived. They were in the sky above Lin Feng and looking down at him icily. They had to destroy the defenses first, and then they'd oppress Lin Feng. Kill that woman, said an old man of the Snow Clan icily. The pressure became even worse, rumbling in the air and shaking the ground. The woman was being targeted. A snowy sword descended from the sky. A Holy Spirit cultivator blocked it. However, someone also flitted up and attacked by surprise. The woman was startled. All the silhouettes around her condensed and turned into a gigantic sword, as the air kept erupting from the conflict of energies. The Snow Clan's saint is not showing up? Wondered Yendi. He was surprised. He hadn't expected the Snow Clan would force the others to surround Lin Feng. At that moment, two people were together up in the sky. They were seated and looked calm. One of them was Snowy White, the saint from the Snow Clan. The other person was Shizhu Laoxian. They were watching the events below, not fighting. At the same time, some crackling sounds spread in the air. Mountains exploded. The strong cultivator of the Snow Clan said, Many people think you're a half-saint. I wouldn't have thought you would have become a real one. But I won't give up today. He obtained the saint. It should be his. You're a saint. How could you fight against a kid? Shizhu Laoxian rebutted calmly. That boy offended the Snow Clan. He must die, and the body will be ours. I can't prevent you from killing him and stealing the saint's body. However, if you kill that boy, be prepared to see some of your young cultivators die too, including people who have king-type bodies," said Shiju Laoxian, casually drinking some liquor. He was angry though. What had Lin Feng done to the Snow Clan? "You're threatening me?" demanded the saint of the Snow Clan. Everything started freezing around them. "You just said you were going to kill that little boy. You're threatening me." "I'm not threatening you," said Shiju Laoxian calmly. He didn't look angry, but the air began to thicken around him. Some fissures appeared in the ice around them. They both remained silent. The atmosphere was explosive. The energies were invisible and intangible. The woman protecting Lin Feng kept being attacked. Even if the Holy Spirit Dynasty's strong cultivators did all they could to protect him, they wouldn't be able to hold out for very long. That's enough. When Lin Feng saw the woman get attacked unceasingly, he rose up into the air. 81 dragons appeared in the sky. Everybody looked at Lin Feng waiting. Someone was going to kill him now. The crowd was startled, because even if some people had come because they wanted Lin Feng to die, the ultimate goal was still to let the Snow Clan kill him. "Go down." 2 cultivators descended from the sky and grabbed Lin Feng. He couldn't move anymore. Lin Feng was helpless, surrounded by too many people. Some attacks moved towards the Cyan dragons, but the Cyan dragons destroyed them. Ji Clan. Lin Feng was agonized and furious. The woman suddenly turned into an illusion and rose up to start attacking the Cyan dragons. She coughed up blood, and her veil fell down, soaked with blood. Lin Feng's heart twitched. "How valiant!" "Let me go!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. He wanted to break free from the 2 people. The woman kept attacking the Cyan dragons. She was doing all she could. She kept coughing blood. Lin Feng felt extremely sad, wondering why she was taking all those risks to protect him. Was it because they had made love? Or was it because of Lin Qiongsheng? Lin Feng knew that all the holy spirits which appeared around her were not actually real bodies. They were illusions. But each time a body was destroyed, she was injured. However, she didn't stop protecting him. She was ready to die for him. Finally, 1 Cyan dragon was left. Lin Feng was a bit relieved. The 2 cultivators next to him also rose back to their previous positions. The last Cyan dragon exploded. Those dragons had been released by a saint emperor. 1 dragon was enough to kill Lin Feng. She had lost many spirits to destroy them. At that moment, she fell down from the sky softly. Lin Feng's heart kept twitching. He raced over to her and caught her. It was the first time he saw her face, as her veil had fallen off. When he saw her, it felt like the world was collapsing. Lin Feng had the impression he was going to explode. No. Suddenly, Lin Feng's eyes turned gray. He looked crushed, and his heart was shattered into 1,000 pieces. Chapter 2053. Balance. At that moment, Lin Feng understood why she had been willing to bear his child, and why she had done all she could to protect him. All of that was because of one thing: the trees of love. Demon energies kept emerging from his body and pulsing around him. He raised his head and stared at the strong cultivator of the Ji clan. "If I don't die, I'll destroy the Ji clan." His voice contained cursing strength. Even the Saint Emperor of the Ji clan shivered when he heard Lin Feng. If he didn't manage to kill Lin Feng today, someday Lin Feng would become stronger, and he would kill them all. However, since Lin Feng said that, the Ji clan was even more motivated to kill him right away. In the sky above the clouds, a saint's energies were everywhere. Fissures appeared in the sky. Someone descended from the sky. When the Saint Emperor of the Ji clan saw that, he started shaking violently. He obviously recognized that person, Shiju Laoxian. He had killed some of their people in the holy city too. Things didn't look good anymore. At the same time, more snowflakes appeared, and the region turned into an icy region. An old man as white as snow appeared. When the attackers saw him, they were relieved. The saint of the Snow clan had appeared. Shiju Laoxian had heard how furious Lin Feng was, so he descended from the sky. He felt sad for Lin Feng. The world was cruel. His disciple liked Lin Feng, but Lin Feng already had many women. Lin Feng lowered his head and looked at the woman in his arms, grief welling up in him. He should have known it was her. She had become stronger than he would have ever thought. But in the end she still risked her life for him. Lin Feng was convinced that Yu Yu had never forgotten about him. Maybe his watcher had even been Yu Yu. He hated himself for not having been able to protect her. But why had she refused to show her face? Was it because she had pledged an oath as a watcher? Lin Feng released life strength into her. He was crying, his tears falling onto her face. She didn't move, and didn't even look sad. You will definitely be fine. Lin Feng released even more life strength, which flowed Yu Yu. The gods couldn't abandon her. At the same time he stamped her soul. Yu Yu, you can't die. I want to raise Qiong Sheng with you, Lin Feng said gently. Shiju Laoxian sighed. Kill him, said someone icily. People were getting nervous again, and oppressive energies rose again. If anyone dares say that again, I'll kill them, said Shiju Laoxian calmly, as he downed his bottle. Everybody stopped talking. All the strong cultivators looked at the Snow Clan's saint, as he was the only one who could compete with Shiju Laoxian. You think you can stop everything alone? There are so many people here. You're ridiculous, said the Snow Clan saint calmly. Even if he had to fight against Shiju Laoxian, he didn't want to give up. Nobody would ever forget the Tianxi dynasty's holy emperor's death. Lin Feng was totally outraged now. Someday, if he became stronger, he'd get his revenge on all of them. They had to kill him. There's the Holy Spirit dynasty too, said the holy emperor of the Holy Spirit dynasty. We don't know why there are tensions between the Snow Clan and Lin Feng. Surprisingly, they even sent a saint to deal with him. However, Lin Feng is our holy dynasty prince, and that woman is a holy woman of our dynasty. She's an imperial concubine. We will do all we can to protect them. And the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, Yan Di added emotionlessly. The Snow Clan's saint looked at those people and said calmly, that's still not enough. Those people have all come here. Whether you agree or not, it won't change anything. You have no way to protect yourself anymore. The Snow Clan's saint didn't care about Tang Yuyu's life. He wasn't Lin Feng, he was a saint. Even people who had king-type bodies didn't necessarily have the potential to become saints. He didn't care about anyone, and he didn't fear anyone either. The only one who could compete with him was Shiju Laoxian. But even if Shiju Laoxian helped the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan and the Holy Spirit dynasty, it still wasn't enough. The Snow Clan didn't fear them. Devamarakulpa's strength rolled in waves in the air. Nobody cared though. Lin Feng's energies didn't affect them at all. But at the same time, the two saints gazed into the distance. A group of people was coming. The two saints had noticed that group of people a while before. But now they were just starting to realize that those people had come because of this battle, and none of them looked weak. With us that should be enough, right? Called out a loud voice. A group of people arrived to stand by Lin Feng. They looked relieved they weren't too late. There were 4 ancestors from Champion University and 6 Saint Emperors with them. In total, they were a dozen Saint Emperors. It was a terrifying lineup. In the 3 main cities of the Dark Knight region, there were universities. They had always remained discreet. There were 8 ancestors in Champion University, and now they were a dozen Saint Emperors. Of course, they couldn't compete with saints. Champion University. The members of the Ji clan were stupefied. Champion University surprisingly wanted to help Lin Feng. The strongest cultivators of Champion University were there. Apart from Champion University, there were also people from the animal world. Mr. Xiao was there too, with the strong cultivators of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan and the Holy Spirit Dynasty. It might be enough to deal with everyone there. Lin Feng looked at Mr. Xiao. He was still holding Tang Yuyu. He immediately flew up to Mr. Xiao. Mr. Xiao immediately understood what Lin Feng wanted. Mr. Xiao, save her, said Lin Feng, handing Tang Yuyu over to Mr. Xiao. Leave it to me, said Mr. Xiao, taking Tang Yuyu. He descended from the sky and frowned. Tang Yuyu's injuries were very serious. After understanding Dao's strength, cultivators finally truly became cultivators. Their path was determined. When Lin Feng had seen Xiaoyu Xian in the Dao-destroying mountain, he had seen how painful it was. And Tang Yuyu had been attacked severely. Her soul and meridians were injured. If Lin Feng hadn't stamped her soul, she would have been killed. Mr. Xiao took out a pellet and put it into Tang Yuyu's mouth. At the same time, He released a awe-inspiring strength which started flowing throughout her body and healing her. At the same time, Devamara Kulpa's strength descended from the sky onto Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng looked unaffected. He just looked at his enemies around icily. He would remember his friends and enemies forever. For the dynasties of Qi Tian Holy Town, it was their second failure. For the Ji clan, it was the third time. Chapter 2054. Agreement. Nobody had thought things would end up this way. Both sides were terrifyingly powerful. The Snow Clan for dynasties, some ancient holy clans. Surprisingly, all those people together couldn't oppress Lin Feng. And even two saints had appeared. It was unprecedented. However, nobody looked relaxed, they were all on edge. Master, the Snow Clan initiated everything. We did all we could to help you, we can't give up halfway, spoke up a holy emperor. Lin Feng had to die. The dynasties were worried because Lin Feng also controlled a saint's body. The dynasties have gone too far. You're humiliating Champion University, said Ancestor Shirtian icily. In the distance, some whistling sounds announced the arrival of a few younger people. You're insolent, shouted the holy emperor of the Great Desert Dynasty explosively. Those young people were from the Great Desert Dynasty. Champion University are arrogant bastards, agreed the holy Jade Princess. Some strong cultivators of Champion University grabbed her. At the same time, the members of the Zhua clan grunted coldly. A young man was there, Zhua Qing. We are. So many dynasties have come to attack Lin Feng, our disciple. And now you're insulting us? How shameless. You can try and kill our geniuses, but we can't protect him? If Lin Feng dies today, we'll kill all your young people, declared Ancestor Shirtian icily. And the Ji clan. And the Pei clan. Ji Chong is a student in Champion University. We never asked anything from him. But he better not do anything dodgy. He's lucky he's a champion. You better draw a clear line between Champion University and the tensions between Lin Feng and the Ji clan, said the Saint Emperor of the Ji clan icily. Ancestor Shirtian grunted icily. Lin Feng understood that the Ji clan and the Pei clan weren't the only clans which were involved. How noisy. You came and now you're threatening Lin Feng and Emperor. That's beneath you. If Lin Feng dies today, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan will help Champion University kill you. And the Tianxi Dynasty, said the Holy Emperor of the Tianxi Dynasty icily. So we want to kill Lin Feng. Does it mean you'll try and destroy the Snow Clan? Asked the Saint of the Snow Clan indifferently. Everybody was startled. The only one who could stop him was Shiju Laoxian. If the Snow Clan attacks Lin Feng, the other members of the Snow Clan won't leave today, said Shiju Laoxian calmly yet grimly. The crowd shivered. Saints could also get angry. The Snow Clan talked as if Shiju Laoxian wasn't there, and it made him angry. And if great emperors attack Lin Feng, I'll kill them too, Shiju Laoxian added indifferently. Those who had come to kill Lin Feng all grimaced. Shiju Laoxian forbade them from attacking Lin Feng. Shiju Laoxian was angry. The Snow Clan saint was angry too. He had no choice but to give up, otherwise his people would be killed. I won't necessarily kill him today then, said the Snow Clan saint to Shiju Laoxian. He had to give up. Shiju Laoxian understood what the saint meant. I know you hate him, but no matter what I'll protect him. If you don't give up I'll keep him with me, said Shiju Laoxian calmly. Neither of them flinched. After a long time, the Snow Clan saint sighed and said, First he must give us the saint's body. He must also give us our Snow Clan's person. That way, we won't attack him anymore. Lin Feng obtained the saint's body alone. If you want to oppress him and send extremely strong cultivators to deal with him, we won't tolerate that. If Lin Feng gives me the saint's body, will you try to take it from me? Asked Shiju Laoxian. And regarding the Snow Clan's person, what is that supposed to mean, Lin Feng? She's my wife. She's never been to the Snow Clan. You think you can take my wife away? Spat Lin Feng, icily staring at the saint. Indeed, and if he weren't here, you wouldn't be that lucky, said the saint. Even if Lin Feng was a bit lucky, he couldn't obtain everything he wanted. Lin Feng was speechless. Besides, initially, we sent her abroad for her to become stronger. She has a celestial king-type body, she's Xueling Long. said the saint to Shiju Laoxian. No wonder, thought Shiju Laoxian. The celestial being of the Snow Clan was Lin Feng's wife. They were furious at the situation, and it was absolutely normal. Shiju Laoxian looked at Lin Feng. Maybe Lin Feng needed some time to become stronger. I agree. Since she has the celestial king-type body of the Snow Clan, you can take her, said Shiju Laoxian. No, refused Lin Feng. Don't worry, said Yendi to Lin Feng. Little boy, sometimes you have to make compromises. After all, you're not strong enough, many people can kill you, said Shiju Laoxian to Lin Feng telepathically. She's my wife and she's pregnant, retorted Lin Feng, his face turning gray. Shiju Laoxian was stupefied and glanced at the Snow Saint, understanding something. Shiju Laoxian continued, but you must ensure the child's safety. The child has the Snow Clan's blood too, replied the saint icily. And I have another request, said Shiju Laoxian. The Snow Saint frowned. Shiju Laoxian had many requests. Within 20 years, I will take Lin Feng to the Snow Clan. If he can defeat one of the kings of the Snow Clan, you will have to agree to their wedding, and you will give Lin Feng's wife back to him, said Shiju Laoxian. The Snow Clan saint suddenly burst out laughing and said, That is a joke. He's quite talented, but he's only a high-level emperor. He will never be able to defeat one of the kings within 20 years. But if he can, I agree. I will even organize a gigantic wedding ceremony for them. The Snow Clan had 3 kings. The strongest had already reached the top of the Diqi layer, and was extremely strong. Within 20 years, he would become even stronger. 20 years weren't enough for Lin Feng to become that strong. If he can't do it, I'll kill him at the Snow Clan, said the Snow Saint icily. Yendi initially thought he'd call the Destiny Shrine if Shiju Laoxian didn't manage to convince the Snow Clan saint. But for now he remained silent. Even though the challenge would be difficult for Lin Feng, it would also be a good way to become much stronger. It would be beneficial for him. Little boy, don't blame me. You need such challenges. You're too weak, you can't protect your wife. It's painful, but within that short time, you can become stronger. My destiny also depends on yours, according to the diviner, thought Yendi. Lin Feng would have been furious if Yendi had told him that. Shiju Laoxian looked at Lin Feng and said patiently, You have no choice. Or do you want your wife to die with you? Lin Feng remained silent, his eyes bloodshot. His heart was bleeding. He hated himself for being powerless. He didn't have his life under control. 2 people were calmly talking and deciding his destiny. He needed to reach their level as soon as possible. Since you obtain the saint's body on your own, you can keep it. The Snow Clan doesn't want it anymore, Shiju Laoxian said indifferently. The Snow Saint looked aloof as he said, I invited all these dynasties. Will you come to an agreement with them too? What do you want? Frowned Shiju Laoxian. Within 20 years, you said he'd fight against one of our kings. But for that, he must prove he's able to. Since you forbade great emperors from attacking him, make him fight against the strongest geniuses of the Huangqi layer of the dynasties and holy clans. If he dies, then the agreement is useless. Chapter 2055. Insane fight against the strongest geniuses of the Huangqi layer from the dynasties and ancient holy clans? Repeated Shiju Laoxian calmly. He must prove he's strong enough to fight against a strong cultivator of the Snow Clan. If he dies, then it's useless to agree on something like that, said the Snow Clan saint indifferently. All the members of the dynasties and holy clans were nervous. They had all hoped Lin Feng would die as soon as possible. Lin Feng was a terrifying fighter, and very talented. He had killed Wang Jian, but fighting against all the strongest cultivators of the Huangqi layer was different. Some people were even stronger than Wang Jian. Zhuo Qing, for example, had a diamond indestructible king-type body. Lin Feng, what do you think? Shiju Laoxian asked Lin Feng. I agree, said Lin Feng. His eyes were filled with death intent. He looked like a dead person. He had been cleansed by Devamara Culpa's strength, for the 4th time in front of everybody. His demon chi kept racing throughout his body. He wanted to kill. Alright, all the geniuses come. Little boy, hand Xueling Long over to us. If you die, we won't know where to find her, said the Snow Clan saint icily. Lin Feng flitted away. So many strong cultivators were there, he couldn't escape anyway. He entered his room and sealed the entrance, so nobody could see how he was going to take Meng Qing out. Meng Qing appeared in front of him and smiled at him. Meng Qing, I am powerless. I can't protect you and Zhetian, said Lin Feng, he feeling guilty and extremely sad. He felt so powerless. You silly boy. You should have sent me to them before. If you had died, I would want to die too, said Meng Qing, smiling and caressing Lin Feng's hair, trying to cheer Lin Feng up. She knew that Lin Feng was suffering atrociously. There was hope, but he had to stay alive. When Lin Feng heard her soft and gentle voice, and saw that she was trying to cheer him up, he felt even sadder. But he also felt even more determined. He hated himself, he was a weakling. He was a bit talented, but that was very, very far from being enough. Meng Qing hugged him, letting Lin Feng feel her warmth. When would they meet again? She told him, don't worry. I will take care of our baby. The Snow Clan is my clan too. Don't worry about me. All right, Lin Feng nodded. If anything happened to Meng Qing and their baby, Lin Feng would definitely try to avenge them. He told her grimly, Meng Qing, give me some time and I'll definitely come to pick you up. I'm sure you will. Take care of yourself first. Lin Feng brought Meng Qing out. When the Snow Clan's members saw Meng Qing, they all looked furious. The saint said to Meng Qing calmly, as expected, you're Ling Long from our clan. Unfortunately, that little boy tarnished you. They had sent Ling Long out because of the Destiny Shrine's diviner trusting him. Initially, they wanted her to come back and get married to a king of their clan. They wanted to see whether Meng Qing would be able to give birth to another king or not. That would have been a fourth one for the clan. Unfortunately, the plan was ruined, and Lin Feng was to blame. All the geniuses of the region seemed to already be in Qi Tian Holy Town. Some people like Ji Chong had been there for a while. The saint of the Snow Clan waved, and an ice world appeared. Many battle stages visible through the doorway. Everybody go in. I control this world. Nobody can use great imperial weapons, or I'll kill them straight away, said the Snow Clan's saint indifferently. Master, can the secret techniques of our clans be used? Asked the Saint Emperor of the Ji clan. Secret techniques are part of a cultivator's own strength, so no problem, said the Snow Clan saint calmly. Young combatants headed into the world one after another. Lin Feng raised his head and death strength filled the air about him. He also rose up in the air, demon intent raging around him. In the ice world, Lin Feng faced many incredible geniuses. He felt crazed. He knew how terrifying it was to fight against groups of people. Little bastard, look at yourself, thought Yin Di. He knew it was going to be very difficult for Lin Feng. But it was a good experience. This wasn't a fair battle. Lin Feng was talented, but those people were not weaklings. Zhuoqing, diamond indestructible king-type body. Holy Jade Princess, mysterious powers. Ji Chong champion. If he used his secret technique, he could have the strength of a great emperor. Prince of the Great Desert Dynasty. Prince of the Tianxi Dynasty. But the Qin Dynasty didn't get involved. And there were the geniuses of the Pei clan, and a few ancient holy clans. 8 geniuses, 8 incredible geniuses from the Dark Knight region. Those people all had the potential to become Saint Emperors someday. However, now they were going to fight against Lin Feng. They all wanted to kill him. Zhuoqing and the others had mixed feelings. They were all geniuses, but 8 geniuses surrounding Lin Feng wasn't anything glorious. They knew it was important, so they had to kill Lin Feng, and so they didn't hesitate. At Zhuoqing's back, a golden wind appeared, breaking everything on its way as it started moving towards Lin Feng. That attack could easily kill a high-level emperor. Ordinary high-level emperors couldn't withstand a single attack from Zhuoqing. But Lin Feng wasn't an ordinary cultivator. He punched out, the blow screaming through the air. Lin Feng used pure strength to smash that golden tornado. The Jade Princess turned into an illusion. Lin Feng saw her silhouettes all over the place. They all moved towards him from every direction. Lin Feng jumped and released explosive demon lights. His Culpa strength surged out, but the illusions were extremely powerful. Lin Feng kept rending the 37 images. Ji Chong also attacked, releasing destructive Dao and Cyan dragons to attack, joined by all the other geniuses, one after another. Lin Feng was in a dead end. It looked bad for him. His demon intent dashed to the skies, his blood boiled, and sharp qi emerged. He turned into a gigantic sword and absorbed more strength, his qi filling the air. Energies crashed onto him, but he remained motionless. "He's crazy," whispered the crowd. So many energies were crashing onto Lin Feng's body from all those strong geniuses. However, Lin Feng didn't flinch and confronted them straightforwardly. His sword began to keen. He slowly turned around and they all stopped. They knew that Lin Feng had killed Prince Yan and Wang Jian using this technique. That sword was oppressive and terrifying. Finally, he moved towards Prince Chen. The Tianxi cultivators were all furious and grimaced. "Bastard!" shouted the Tianxi Holy Emperor. He remembered the giant again, when he had killed the Holy Emperor. He was too scared of this young man. He was going crazy. The sharp sword streaked across the sky. At that moment, Prince Chen's face turned deathly pale. He released all his strength to defend himself. Nobody could rescue him. Since Lin Feng had chosen to kill him first, the others didn't mind. They weren't going to risk their lives to save Prince Chen. The gigantic sword reached Prince Chen and pierced through his body. Everybody shivered as Lin Feng reappeared. He coughed up blood, but his eyes contained a killing will. Chapter 2056. How tragic little Chen! Shouted the Tianxi cultivators, their faces horrified and sad. They had lost both Prince Chen and Prince Yan. They had been the most talented young people of their dynasty. Lin Feng had warned the Tianxi dynasty. He had even killed their holy emperor. However, they had decided to come anyway. That's why Lin Feng chose to kill Prince Chen first. His ancient holy techniques had sufficed to kill Prince Yan. So of course they were also enough to kill Prince Chen. His qi continued surging around him. Holy spirits appeared and fused together with his body. Holy marks appeared under his feet. At the same time, he released a sharp weapon qi, and also condensed ancient strength. The combined qi began to build up ominously. Those who were attacking Lin Feng were shocked and started trembling. This bastard was crazy. Lin Feng used his ancient holy technique again, and killed another cultivator from an ancient clan. He continued mercilessly. His sword was too sharp, and his oppressive strength was incredible, so they couldn't bring him down. Everybody understood that Lin Feng wasn't just fighting. He was risking his life. Each time he attacked, he was risking his life. He could die at any time. However, it worked, as he had already killed 5 geniuses. The members of the dynasties and ancient holy clans all had twisted expressions. 5 people. Lin Feng had killed 5 people. His clothes were already soaked with blood. He looked like a death god. His gaze turned on Ji Chang. 3 geniuses were left: Zhuqing, the Holy Jade Princess, and Ji Chang. It wasn't easy to kill Lin Feng. Likewise, killing those people would be very difficult. Zhuqing had a diamond indestructible king-type body. His defense was incredible. Ji Chang had his secret technique, and the Holy Jade Princess seemed to control illusions. At that moment they were staring at Lin Feng. He was coughing blood and looked totally insane. He didn't care anymore. He was ready to risk his life. "Let's attack together." "He looks tired," said Zhuqing. The 3 cultivators' silhouettes flickered, and they threw themselves at Lin Feng. Golden lights glittered and shot towards him. A holy spirit sword appeared in front of Lin Feng like a living thing. It started cutting apart the golden lights. "Die!" shouted Zhuqing explosively. A golden spear appeared and shot across the sky like a thunderbolt. At the same time, he raised his hand, and a golden cauldron appeared and bore down on Lin Feng. The Holy Jade Princess also attacked, inundating him with illusions. However, Lin Feng closed his eyes and merely punched out in her direction, his death intent turning into a tornado. At the same time, his Nihility sword moved towards the 3 of them. Ji Chang ran towards Lin Feng. With every step, the ground exploded. Fissures appeared around him, cyan dragons roaring furiously and trying to devour Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng turned into many silhouettes and suddenly withdrew. They didn't know which one was the real one. "Destroy!" shouted Zhuqing icily. Golden lights blotted out the sky. They kept destroying Lin Feng's silhouettes one after another. They didn't want to give him a single chance. The holy spirits moved back into Lin Feng's body, and he released sky-absorbing cosmic energies. At the same time, his sharp weapon Qi appeared again. Zhuo Qing and the two others grit their teeth. Lin Feng was injured, and surprisingly, he wanted to turn into a sword again. He was definitely crazy. "This time we'll definitely kill him," said Ji Chang icily. Lin Feng turned into a sword and drove at Ji Chang. "Stop!" shouted Ji Chang. Releasing more destructive strength, moved towards the gigantic sword as fast as he could. At his back, cyan dragon totems appeared in a glittering display. Zhuo Qing and the Holy Jade Princess didn't waste time, either, attacking the gigantic sword as hard as they could. However, the gigantic sword pierced through all their attacks, and continued towards Ji Chang. The gigantic sword whistled furiously. It had to kill Ji Chang. "Arg!" Ji Chang roared with rage. His cyan dragon totems went back into his body, and he turned into a cyan dragon. When the gigantic sword and the cyan dragons collided, it felt like time had stopped. Explosions and thunder spread out, and the shockwave burst over everyone. An oppressive strength was pushing against the cyan dragon. "Die!" shouted Zhuo Qing, turning golden. He landed in front of the gigantic sword, and golden energies crashed onto the gigantic sword. The gigantic sword vibrated violently, space splitting all around it. The Jade Princess couldn't miss such a good opportunity. She also moved gracefully into position and attacked the gigantic sword as well. The members of the Holy Spirit Dynasty and Champion University were shaking. The combined attacks were terrifying. Could Lin Feng survive? The three of them continued chasing the silhouettes they hadn't destroyed. A strong wind appeared around Zhuo Qing, but the silhouettes continued escaping too. The gigantic sword released a boundless strength, bearing down on a cyan dragon and two people. On the sword, marks gradually appeared. "No!" When Meng Qing saw that, her heart twitched. If the sword broke, Lin Feng was going to die. Behind Zhuo Qing, one of Lin Feng's clones suddenly released oppressive energies. He raised his fist and struck at Zhuo Qing's head. Oh no! Zhuo Qing's face turned deathly pale. He released even more golden energies to protect himself. He wasn't the only one. The Holy Jade Princess face also turned deathly pale. She started running away, trying to dodge. However, the gigantic sword released even more pressure. They were frightened as the weight of the world crashed down on them. Lin Feng's goal was their total destruction. His horrifying physical strength crashed down onto the golden body. Demon lights exploded and penetrated into Zhuo Qing's brain. Zhuo Qing's head trembled at the impact. The Holy Jade Princess sped up. She was being hunted by Lin Feng's clones. She didn't know what to do, and started panicking. A death punch appeared. It looked unavoidable, unstoppable. She could barely see it coming. The punch crashed onto her and blood splashed out. A terrifying sword Qi sliced through the cyan dragon's body. It roared desperately as blood splashed and stained the gigantic sword. The gigantic body fell down from the sky and crashed onto the ground before reverting to Ji Chang. Sword intent was tearing through his body. "Arg!" Zhuo Qing shouted furiously. He attacked Lin Feng's clone, but the clone went back into the gigantic sword. At the same time, the Holy Jade Princess was going crazy as she ran towards Lin Feng's clone. The gigantic sword struck out at Zhuo Qing and the Holy Jade Princess, who were blasted away. They both crashed onto the ground, unable to stand up. The gigantic sword became less dazzling, turning back into Lin Feng again. He fell down from the sky. At that moment, outside of the ice world, everybody remained silent. Nobody had expected this. That was a real battle. Lin Feng had risked his life from the beginning to the end. He was walking on the path of life and death, but he wasn't immortal. The four fighters didn't stand up. Meng Qing was crying. She whispered, "If he dies, I will die too." The saint frowned, and Shiju Laoxian asked, "Is that enough?" At that moment, everybody looked to the snow saint, who was staring at the ice world. He sighed and said, "If he doesn't die, I hope you can bring him to the Snow Clan in 20 years. He waved his hand. Crackling sounds spread in the air. The ice world disappeared, and he said to the others of his clan, "Let's go." Less and less snowflakes fell from the sky as they disappeared in the distance. Meng Qing was still crying. Shiju Laoxian, the members of the Zhuo clan, and the others all took away their people. Mr. Xiao brought Tang Yu to Lin Feng and checked out Lin Feng. He said, "I'll take him back to the tribe." "All right, go," agreed Shiju Lao Xian, waving his hand. A holy strength penetrated into Lin Feng's body to protect him. Mr. Xiao and the members of Champion University left together. Very quickly, everybody had left. Shiju Lao Xian looked at the remaining people icily. Shiju Lao Xian didn't attack them. Lin Feng could solve his problems alone. Shiju Lao Xian hoped Lin Feng wouldn't disappoint him. He wanted to take him to the Snow Clan 20 years from now. Chapter 2057. Lin Jitian. The news quickly spread throughout Qitian Holy Town. Everybody was astonished. The crowd had not thought Lin Feng would undergo another terrifying battle after the previous time, when he had borrowed the saint's strength. And 2 saints had shown up. How unbelievable. Everybody in Qitian Holy Town was talking about the fight on the streets. Even the historical remains hadn't stirred up so much excitement. According to those who there, Lin Feng used all his strength to fight against the most outstanding emperors of the region. He risked his life and killed 5 people. I've heard of that too. In the end, Ji Chong, the Holy Jade Princess, and Zhuo Qing were all badly injured too. I wonder if they're still alive? Maybe they are dead. That would be tragic. If that's the case, Lin Feng will definitely die. Some people didn't believe that Lin Feng had fought against 8 geniuses. They were thinking that they would have to fight against him if they bumped into him. Besides, many people said many different things. They were convinced that Zhuo Qing could already compete with Lin Feng on his own. According to them, Lin Feng wasn't that terrifying. However, Lin Feng was becoming more and more famous in the whole region. People started forgetting about the historical remains in the saint's world. Nobody heard about Lin Feng anymore. He didn't show up in the outside world anymore. In Qitian Holy Town, the Tianxi dynasty, the ancient Jade dynasty, and the others all thought that Lin Feng had fallen during that battle. Geniuses continued rising in the 18 cities of the Dark Night region. Chu Chunxiu became even more famous. He had killed a great emperor, and that great emperor used to be in the top 10 of the imperial ranking list back in the day. Chu Chunxiu was already the best cultivator of the holy city, first on the imperial ranking list. At the same time, people who were in the top 10 also continued rising. After all, much time had passed since the Pathfinder Day. Some other people also started rising. Lang Yi of the World Clan, Ho Qing Lin of Champion University, Jian Meng, and so on. They were all considered dazzling cultivators. Tiantai was also quite famous with many geniuses. It was easier for them to find geniuses, since they were in Champion University, and they were becoming more and more famous. They had surpassed Ji Cheng's club a long time ago. Tiantai's core disciples were extremely strong. Champion University was recruiting the most outstanding cultivators of the region, but Tiantai was stealing all of them. Everybody in Champion University knew one name, even if they had never seen the person, as he used to be the most dazzling cultivator of Tiantai. Lin Feng, where was he? The Snow Clan was a beautiful place. Snow kept falling all the time there. They had many snow beasts in the clan. The elders of the Snow Clan were all different beasts. The strongest snow race also ruled the Snow Clan. They were known as the Imperial Clan. The Imperial Clan of that generation wasn't composed of snow foxes, or Xueling Long wouldn't have had to go through such hardships. The previous Imperial Clan used to be composed of snow foxes. Xueling Long hadn't been kicked out just because of the diviner. The reasons were more complex. It was also due to the competition, which existed between the different animal races within the clan. On that day, a 7-month-old baby was standing at the foot of a 10,000-year-old tree. He kept making sounds as he couldn't speak, but he could stand on his feet. "Jitian," said an old man, smiling and caressing the baby's head. "In 5 months you'll be 1 year old. Initially, I wanted to offer you to the Snow Clan when you turn 2, but you're already extraordinary, so we'll do it when you turn 1. Try and break that tree." If the members of the Snow Clan had seen that, they would have been jealous. A saint emperor of the Snow Clan was teaching a newborn cultivation. How incredible! Besides, that baby's blood wasn't even pure. He wasn't 100% from the Snow Clan. The baby understood what the old man said. He made sounds and sounded excited. He looked extremely cute too, with big cheeks. Many women would fall in love with him in his adult life. At that moment, the baby looked at the tree and spat out chi. Holy celestial strength appeared around him and merged into his body. He was also absorbing pure chi. The old man looked pleasantly surprised. At the birth of the little boy, the Snow Clan had had discussions regarding how they should dispose of him. Many people wanted to abandon him, but when they saw he could absorb all sorts of pure chi, the members of the Snow Clan had been astonished. They had agreed not to talk about his father at all. They also had to prevent him from meeting his mother too often. The Snow Clan would take care of his education. The little boy punched the tree. However, the wind just rushed by, and the tree was still there. The baby looked at the old man in a strange way, unhappy with the result. The old man burst into laughter and caressed the baby's head. He smiled and said, "Don't worry, after the ceremony, you'll start practicing cultivation for real. You haven't seen your mother for a long time. I'll take you to her. You must miss her," said the old man, gazing into the distance and sighing. He couldn't do anything about that. The Snow Clan had agreed they would not meet too often. His mother was a snow fox queen in the Snow Clan, Ling Long. The old man understood that even though he was teaching him, many other people were watching them. He brought the baby to an ice palace. He was concerned by the one she had chosen, the Snow Clan's ice vision. Few people dared practice cultivation here. However, she had chosen this place. She was extremely strong. Of course, for her, it was a good place. "Ling Long, Jetian is here," said the old man as he entered the ice palace. A silhouette flickered as she appeared before him. She was snowy white and looked like a real celestial being, except for her anger. The old man didn't dare get close to her. She didn't look as gentle and soft as when she was with Lin Feng. However, when she saw the baby, she suddenly smiled widely. 20 years. So what? She would even wait for him for 200 years if she had to. He would definitely come to the Snow Clan at some point. "You have 2 hours," said the old man before he left. "Jetian," said Meng Qing, hugging her little boy and kissing his cheeks. She took Lin Jetian into the depths of the ice palace. That place was most isolated from the rest of the world. "Mother," said Jetian. If anyone else had heard him, they would have been astonished. In the outside world, Jetian didn't speak. People didn't think he could yet. "Lin Jetian, you remember what I've told you?" asked Meng Qing to the baby. She looked serious. Jetian nodded and said, "I only listen to you. I don't listen to them. My family name is Lin. My father's name is Lin Feng. I'm Lin Jetian. I'm not Shue Jetian. My father chose my name. Someday, I'll become a terrifying cultivator, and I'll take mommy away." If anyone from the clan had heard that, they would have been furious. Even if Lin Jetian could meet Meng Qing only once a month, his intuition allowed him to understand that Meng Qing was his mother. Therefore, he listened to her, and each time they met, he told her those things to show her he remembered. Since his birth, he remembered his name, Lin Jetian, and his father's name, Lin Feng. Meng Qing hugged her baby tight and cried. She gazed into the distance and whispered, "Lin Feng, this is our baby." Lin Feng, where was he? Chapter 2058. Coming back to life outside of the holy city. 2 people were lying on beds of straw. They were a handsome man and a beautiful woman, still asleep even after a long period of time. They looked like a dead imperial couple, lying there next to one another. However, a mysterious strength floated around them. It felt like it could explode any time. In the distance, the wind moaned. A silhouette as big as a tower appeared. He looked at the 2 people and frowned. "Mr. Xiao, Lin Feng and the girl haven't woken up yet? They haven't completely recovered. But this year, they will eventually wake up," said Mr. Xiao, glancing at the 2. He was a mighty healer. Lin Feng and Yu hadn't woken up, but Mr. Xiao knew that it would happen sooner or later. "All right, I hope that when Lin Feng wakes up, he'll be even stronger," nodded Tantai. After what had happened to Lin Feng, Tantai heard about it in Champion University and had decided to come to the tribe to check up on Lin Feng. He had told Champion University's people that they didn't need to worry about Lin Feng. Lin Feng, In the holy city, people say that you have fallen. Hurry up and wake up. Show those bastards that the strongest cultivator of Champion University is still here. Ji Chang is a piece of shit, swore Tantai. Lin Feng had disappeared for an entire year. Ji Chang had reappeared 6 months ago. Therefore, he had become the best cultivator of Champion University once again. Many people in Champion University believed Lin Feng had fallen. He hadn't returned to the holy city since the battle. A fearsome qi suddenly emerged from Lin Feng's body, rapidly gaining strength. A wind of cosmic energies appeared all around him. Mr. Xiao was surprised. What was going on? Tantai was startled too and asked, Mr. Xiao, is Lin Feng going to wake up? I don't know. Each time a thread of strength emerges from his body, I think he might wake up. But he doesn't, said Mr. Xiao. He was intrigued. When Tantai heard Mr. Xiao, he frowned. But after those cosmic energies turned into a tornado, Tantai was relieved. This was a good thing. At that moment, another mysterious strength appeared. Many lights glittered all around him, a spectacular sight. All sorts of strength. Lin Feng looked as if he had been bathing in the Milky Way. It was very strange. Lin Feng knew he had an affinity with all sorts of strength. That's why he had decided to study several sorts of abstruse energies. He had turned his abstruse energies into cosmic energies. Then, Lin Feng had obtained the heavenly grace godly wood, and used it a lot. If he wanted to, he could study all sorts of cosmic energies. But that was too time-consuming, so he hadn't. Lin Feng preferred focusing on a few, but his affinity was incredible. Lin Feng waved his hand, and the cosmic energies condensed into his hand, turning into a light beam, and then into a whirlwind. That whirlwind contained all sorts of strengths. They're fusing together, a little bit more, and they'll be in perfect harmony with my Tao, whispered Lin Feng. Back then, he had already managed to see that mysterious strength a little bit, but it hadn't been enough. One more step. Tao, my Tao, Lin Feng said to himself. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and the stars disappeared. His cosmic energies also dispersed. He's awake. Mr. Xiao and Tantai's eyes twinkled. Finally, Lin Feng was awake. Where am I? Asked Lin Feng, suddenly standing up. He hadn't moved in a long time, so his body was a bit rigid, and his bones crackled loudly. Lin Feng, we are at my tribe, said Mr. Xiao. Lin Feng saw Mr. Xiao and Tantai, and then Yu, and his heart twitched. Yu, said Lin Feng, crouching down and stretching out his hand. He caressed her face and said, Mr. Xiao, how is Yu doing? Her injuries were as serious as yours, but she's stronger than you, so she needed more time to recover. I don't know when she'll wake up, but you don't need to worry, Mr. Xiao told him. Lin Feng nodded. He condensed some strength, stood up and walked away. He said, Mr. Xiao, take me out of the tribe. Mr. Xiao was a bit startled, but nodded and took Lin Feng out. When Lin Feng arrived outside of the tribe, ominous force emerged from his body. In the sky, Devamara Culpa strength condensed. The 5th time. My physical strength has increased again. Lin Feng looked at the Devamara Culpa strength in the sky, then over at Mr. Xiao. The strength in your body matured for a year. Of course you became stronger. The effects of the Devamara Culpa strength you absorbed haven't had time to appear, said Mr. Xiao. Lin Feng nodded. Devamara Culpa strength descended from the sky and bombarded Lin Feng once again. It felt great. Awesome, said Lin Feng, raising his head to the skies, his eyes all black. How pleasant. The Devamara Culpa strength couldn't harm his body anymore. However, he didn't have the same sensation as before. This time, it was even more pleasant because his muscles felt numb after spending so much time in a coma, and now the knots were being worked out. At that moment, more demon lights illuminated his body and twinkled. Devamara Culpa strength bombarded his soul a second time. Lin Feng jumped into the air. A third wave bombarded him. Mr. Xiao, how much time has passed since the battle in Chi Tian Holy Town? Asked Lin Feng as the demon Culpa strength bombarded his body. 1 year, replied Mr. Xiao. 1 year. How is Meng Qing? Asked Lin Feng rhetorically. He looked at the sky and wondered. Little boy, are you born yet? The 4th and 5th waves bombarded his body. The waves were becoming more and more powerful. The skies were angry because Lin Feng was looking at them disdainfully. The sixth wave bombarded him. It reminded him of the battle. Ji Chang Zhuqing, the Holy Jade Princess, how are you all doing? If you're still alive, stay alive. I'll come and take your lives myself. Lin Feng's qi grew ever more terrifying. Tianxi Dynasty, Great Desert Dynasty, Ancient Jade Dynasty, Ji Clan, Pei Clan, Zhou Clan, how are you all? Asked Lin Feng, smiling in a cold and evil way. The seventh wave bombarded him. The eighth wave condensed in the sky. Snow Clan, Ancient Holy Clans, maybe in the future, when I go to the Snow Clan, I won't only go there to pick Meng Qing up, said Lin Feng calmly. Mr. Xiao shivered when he heard Lin Feng. The eighth wave crashed down. Mr. Xiao was amazed. Lin Feng was even more determined than he had thought. Within 20 years, Lin Feng would definitely go to the Snow Clan. The ninth wave condensed. The earth and sky began to whistle. Then it crashed down on him again. Demon Qi emerged from Lin Feng's eyes and shot up into the sky. He shouted, "Die!" Lin Feng flew upwards and punched out at the Devamara Kulpa in the sky. The earth and sky shook violently, thunder crashed. The Devamara Kulpa almost stopped, and a hole even appeared. Lin Feng moved around in the Devamara Kulpa lights high up in the sky and bathed in them. Chapter 2059. Top-level physical strength demon lights twinkled around Lin Feng. After the ninth wave, the demon clouds finally dispersed, and the blue sky appeared again. However, Lin Feng was still surrounded by terrifying demon energies. He looked like a demon king. He clenched his fists, feeling his bones crackle. He felt happy. It was the fifth time he had been cleansed by Devamara Kulpa strength as a high-level emperor. His physical strength had increased once again. Mr. Zhao's healing techniques are incredible. He can heal people, but he can also make them even stronger than they were before. Even though people in the tribe aren't extremely strong at the beginning, they apply the same rule to everyone, that grand talents mature slowly. Tantai must have become explosively strong, and they progress even faster with time, thought Lin Feng. He looked at Mr. Xiao. Mr. Xiao stood next to him and smiled gently. Lin Feng, your physical strength is much higher than people of my tribe at the same cultivation level. Your demon skills are aggressive. You can even stand being cleansed by Devamara Kulpa strength directly. Mr. Xiao, the scriptures I've studied are called indestructible Devamara skills and techniques, but they're not complete. I'm sure they would be useful in your tribe. It gives cultivators an explosive power. I'll transmit them to you using my godly awareness, Lin Feng said to Mr. Xiao. My tribe's philosophy is to make steady progress incrementally. They study whatever they want. But you're right, having such scriptures would be useful. Thank you, said Mr. Xiao. Lin Feng nodded and transmitted the demon skills to Mr. Xiao. Mr. Xiao, those skills and techniques are extremely aggressive. The Devamara Kulpa strength doesn't only attack a cultivator's physical body, they also attack the soul. People who don't have a powerful soul can't study it carelessly. They must be careful, warned Lin Feng. Mr. Xiao naturally understood. They both headed back to the tribe. Lin Feng landed next to Yu Yu. He caressed her face and said gently, "Little girl, how can you be so silly? Why did you pretend we didn't know each other? Why did you secretly protect me?" whispered Lin Feng. He looked at Mr. Xiao and said, "Mr. Xiao, do you still need to give her medicine?" "No, when the right time comes, she'll wake up," said Mr. Xiao, shaking his head. "I'll keep her with me then," Lin Feng said to Mr. Xiao. Mr. Xiao didn't refuse, he nodded and agreed. "All right." Lin Feng brought Yu Yu into his spirit world. He hadn't seen his family for a year. When they saw him, they didn't mention Meng Qing. She hadn't come back for a while. They realized something had happened. Lin Feng hadn't come back to see them for a year, which was strange. Lin Feng usually came back quite often. And why hadn't Lin Feng come back with Jitian and Meng Qing? Lin Feng explained some of what had gone on. Even though they didn't ask, Lin Feng had to tell them some things. He couldn't conceal the truth, so he told them everything. They knew Meng Qing was safe at least. Unfortunately, Lin Feng couldn't contact Meng Qing, even with her jade talisman. Lin Feng put Yu Yu on a blue Uptala lotus, and also practiced cultivation there. He stayed with her for 7 days, and then went into the demon pond to improve his Devamara body. His physical strength kept increasing. Lin Feng was making even more effort than before, crazily intense about his cultivation. He spent half a month in the demon pond this time, and then was cleansed by Devamara Kulpa 2 more times. His physical strength was already terrifying. His Devamara body and Devamara Kulpa strength were different things. Devamara Kulpa strength made his physical body more powerful, while his Devamara body made his strength even more explosive. Lin Feng knew he could cleanse his body only twice this time. A third time would have been harmful. With the medicine Mr. Xiao had given to Lin Feng for a year, and the Devamara Kulpa strength, and the Devamara body, Lin Feng's physical strength had easily reached the top of the Huangqi layer. He could easily crush cultivators of the top of the Huangqi layer these days. However, there was no limit. It was always possible to become stronger. Ji Chang and the others were already at the top of the Huangqi layer, but Lin Feng wasn't. At the same cultivation level, he would have been much stronger than they were. At this time, Lin Feng didn't know that he had already reached the top of the Huangqi layer. Indestructible Devamara Kulpa skill, Devamara body, they're useful. Lin Feng muttered to himself as he left his spirit world. He had no time to waste. He didn't have time to spend with his family either. Even though Shiju Lao Xian and the Snow Clan's saint had agreed on a limit of 20 years, Lin Feng didn't want to wait that long. He wanted to see Meng Qing and his baby as soon as possible. The Holy City was the most central city of the Dark Night region. It had never lost its reputation, and there were always geniuses there. Chu Chunxiu was still the first cultivator on the imperial ranking list. The second wasn't Lin Feng anymore. It was Ji Chang once again. Lin Feng's name had already disappeared from the imperial ranking list. The great imperial palace's people were convinced that Lin Feng had died during the great battle in Qitian Holy Town. And even if he hadn't died, he was probably unable to regain his original strength. Many other people from the top of the imperial ranking list were trying to become great emperors. The imperial ranking list was just a symbol. Strength was more important. On the day Lin Feng reappeared in the Holy City, was he a guest in the Holy City, or was it like his new hometown? Lin Feng was in a restaurant, wearing a gray robe and a plaited bamboo hat. There was a veil around the bamboo hat which hid his face. He looked like the Watchers from back then. He didn't head back to Champion University first. This restaurant was near the Ji clan, and belonged to them. In the Holy City, ancient holy clans all had restaurants in such places. It was a way of learning about current affairs. Apart from that, ancient holy clans in the Holy City also had journalists, spies, and special agents. That's how ancient holy clans controlled cities. I've heard that Chu Chunxiu had killed another great emperor. How terrifying. He's as insane as his ancestor. Yes, and Chu Chunxiu hasn't reached the very top of the Huangqi layer yet. How terrifying indeed. Everybody underestimated him. I am sure he has a king-type body. He's just the new King Chu. People in restaurants were mostly talking about emperors. They didn't know much about great emperors. Emperors were more common. There were many things to talk about them. When talking about emperors, they mainly thought of the best ones: Ji Chang, Chu Chunxiu, and so on. Ji Chang is trying to break through to the Diqi layer. He will surpass Chu Chunxiu again. He maybe, someone else laughed. It was a member of the Ji clan. People kept flattering Ji Chang, even if they knew that Ji Chang wasn't as strong as Chu Chunxiu. However, at that moment, someone decided to do the opposite. Is Ji Chang the one who was defeated by that medium-level emperor? How funny, you're talking about him, as if he were an unprecedented genius. How audacious, the crowd murmured. However, saying that in one of the Ji clan's restaurants was reckless. What a humiliation for the Ji clan too. The Ji clan cultivators looked at Lin Feng icily. Baloney. Your Excellency, you must be too drunk to think clearly already. Who do you think you are to talk about a champion? Baloney. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at them icily through his veil, and said indifferently. The champion was initially second, and then he fell to fourth on the imperial ranking list. That's unprecedented. And there aren't many strong cultivators in the Ji clan. That guy was even surrounded by hundreds of people, and he killed many of them. That was a new page in the history of the holy city. All the young people in the restaurant released Qi and looked at him aggressively. Why are you provoking us? Lin Feng had a rictus grin behind his veil. Of course, he was just provoking them. He had come for revenge. Chapter 2060. Slaughtering, you can see it that way, said Lin Feng calmly. The young people of the Ji clan were stupefied. They all stood up and walked towards Lin Feng. Oppressive energies surrounded him. Many other people backed away from Lin Feng. He was too audacious. Your Excellency, you're not weak. I'll teach you a good lesson. I'm from the Ji clan. You'll see that you can't offend the Ji clan, said someone in front of Lin Feng. He sounded calm and composed. The Ji clan still remembered that Ji Chang had been defeated by Lin Feng not long ago, and that he had also killed many of their people. They couldn't forget about it. Now someone was surprisingly making fun of them, because of that in a restaurant that belonged to them. Ji clan's people? When Lin Feng heard the man, the table in front of him exploded. He looked at the speaker icily, and the young man started shaking. Yu was in a coma, because of people from the Ji clan. The Ji clan had tried to kill him 3 times. They had to pay the price for that. Lin Feng stood up and walked forwards. That person sensed Lin Feng's terrifying power. He was shocked and scared by the pressure. Lin Feng raised his hand, and demon energies filled the air. The Ji clan's strong cultivator was stunned. He shouted explosively and punched out towards Lin Feng. A cyan dragon appeared and intercepted Lin Feng's punch attack. There was a crackling sound, as that cultivator's bones were crushed. Lin Feng's demon punch continued moving forwards, and pierced through his heart like a knife through butter. His body was propelled away. His soul shook violently and exploded. People in the restaurant were astonished, their hearts pounding at his action. How cruel! He had killed a member of the Ji clan straight away. The members of the Ji clan were astonished. Someone dared kill people from the Ji clan in a restaurant that belonged to them? Lin Feng dared. He didn't only kill one. He didn't kill only high-level emperors. He also killed medium-level emperors and low-level emperors. He hated the Ji clan. Each time he thought of their saint emperors who had attacked Yu, he was even more furious. He wanted to kill them all. Therefore, Lin Feng was merciless. He didn't hesitate. He kept punching all those people, and very quickly, many corpses were lying all around him. The crowd was terrified. This guy was insane. However, he had just killed many high and medium-level emperors, which meant he was extremely strong. Or were the Ji clan's emperors just weak? Of course, Lin Feng didn't kill all of them, he said to one. The members of the Ji clan are so weak. Go and inform Ji Chang that someone wants to show everyone that giving him the title of champion is a disgrace. Make him come here. Then, Lin Feng kicked that person who crashed against a wall, pierced through it, and flew away. He's provoking Ji Chang. Someone is provoking the Ji Chang, a high-level emperor. Is he as strong as Chu Chun Xiu and Lin Feng? Go and inform the clan. So this guy had come and killed people of the Ji clan because he wanted Ji Chang to come out. He's very strong. He can kill high-level emperors of the Ji clan in one punch. I wonder whether he's as strong as Ji Chang or not. Since he's provoking the Ji clan, he must be strong. He must be from an ancient holy clan too. The watchers kept on speculating. The news spread very quickly. Ji Chang also heard about it. Lin Feng was still in the restaurant. He had sat down again and waited calmly. It was as if he hadn't killed anyone. He knew that if he had come showing his face, the Ji clan wouldn't have let Ji Chang come out. A year before, 8 strong cultivators had joined hands to fight against him, and Ji Chang was the first person he wanted to kill. Very quickly, some members of the Ji clan arrived, their oppressive strength invading the restaurant. Many people shook. It was a great emperor. Come here, shouted the cultivator explosively. The crowd understood and looked at Lin Feng. However, when everybody looked at him, he acted as if he hadn't heard anything. He was simply taking a drink. At that moment, the restaurant shook violently. It was as if it were about to collapse. The crowd left it quickly. Lin Feng was alone in there. Crackling sounds spread out. The restaurant collapsed and turned to ashes. Who are you? Asked the member of the Ji clan. The leader of the group was a great emperor. He was in a very bad mood. He had tried to understand, but he kept failing. As a result, his social status kept falling within the Ji clan. When he heard that someone had said the Ji clan was weak, he became even more furious and took some strong emperors along with him. "Where's Ji Chong?" asked Lin Feng indifferently, but he didn't even turn his head to look at them. Lin Feng was disappointed. Many people want to challenge Ji Chong in the holy city, but he only fights against those who are strong enough, said the great emperor icily. "You are as pitiful as a stray cur. That guy keeps failing, and you treat him as if he were an incredible cultivator. No wonder the Ji clan sends saint emperors to fight against emperors," Lin Feng said mockingly. The people in the distance were not surprised. He had been talking that way the whole time. They were wondering who he was though. Who was he? Why was he so brave? When Lin Feng said that, great imperial qi invaded the atmosphere and blotted out the sky. The cultivators behind the great emperor looked ready to explode. "Ji Feng Lai, go and kill him," the great emperor said to someone next to him. "Ji Feng Lai, he's been rising quickly these days. He understands destructive Tao. He's very strong, and he's already on the imperial ranking list. I wonder if he can fight against him," chattered the crowd when they heard that familiar name. The difference between emperors who understood Tao power and those who didn't was huge. The cultivator in black clothes hadn't released Tao power. Did he understand Tao power though? If he didn't, he was in danger. But he probably did since he wanted to challenge Ji Chong. Ji Feng Lai jumped forwards and released destructive Tao, the air trembling about him. A wind kicked up, bringing the falling sky along with it. "Die!" Ji Feng Lai landed in front of Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng flew up and released demon qi at Ji Feng Lai. The crowd was astonished as Ji Feng Lai exploded instantly. How is that possible? Ji Feng Lai understood Tao power, and that guy killed him in one punch? He released demon cosmic energies. How scary! Those watching were stunned. On top of that, Lin Feng had moved so fast that they hadn't understood what Lin Feng had done. The blasted corpse landed in front of the great emperor. "Cyan dragon whistles!" shouted the great emperor explosively. Instantly, a cyan dragon appeared. Lin Feng threw himself at the dragon and punched its head. The crowd was astonished. "Die!" The great emperor moved faster than most of them could see. The air ripped as several cyan dragons whipped towards Lin Feng. In reply, Lin Feng released terrifying demon intent, which was more powerful than the great emperor's cosmic energies. How is that possible? He's an emperor. Why are his cosmic energies more powerful than mine? Gasped the great emperor. He shouted defiantly, cyan dragons streaking across the sky. However, Lin Feng crushed them, and his fists continued on undeterred. There was a deafening explosive impact. The crowd was astonished as the great emperor immediately blew apart. Chapter 2061. Fighting against Ji Chong again, he killed the great emperor. The crowd was astonished when they saw the great emperor explode. They had thought he would be incredibly strong, and that he'd win that battle. But what a tragedy, dying to an attack so explosive, totally beyond their expectations. The Ji clan cultivators were astonished. They had seen the body of the great emperor explode. They couldn't believe it their eyes, that attack. Lin Feng didn't waste time. His black cloak fluttered in the wind as he jumped forwards. Their faces turned deathly pale. One of them shouted explosively, "Let's go!" Lin Feng jumped forwards, moving like a black arrow. Rumblings and explosions followed him. He punched another cultivator, who exploded as well. They didn't have enough time to move. Lin Feng was too fast. The other Ji clan cultivators had the sensation it was their judgment day. Their faces were as white as sheets of paper. That speed, nobody could compete with him. The crowd just saw a black dot flickering. Each time Lin Feng punched out, a cultivator exploded. Very quickly, Lin Feng was the last one standing there. In the blink of an eye, he had killed the whole group. Lin Feng jumped up on the ruins of the restaurant and said calmly, "I will be waiting for Ji Chong for 3 days. If he doesn't come to fight against me, it means that he doesn't deserve to be called a champion." Lin Feng headed off to the ranking list. Surprisingly, he had set the meeting point there. That guy has killed so many strong Ji clan cultivators. And now he wants to fight against Ji Chong. How crazy, was the consensus of the crowd. Their silhouettes flickered, heading after him to the ranking list. They all wanted to see that battle. If Ji Chong didn't show up, that would be a humiliation to him. I think he must be a genius from a powerful clan. That's why he wants to fight against Ji Chong. And now he set the meeting point where the imperial ranking list is. He wants to be ranked 2. And on top of that, at the top of the list. If he defeats Ji Chong, he'll rank 2nd. How will the Ji clan deal with him though? Will they attack him directly? Or will they make Ji Chong fight against him? People were all talking about the situation. Very quickly, the whole Ji clan learned about it. There was currently no Pathfinder stage where the imperial ranking list was displayed, but it was still a vast area. Lin Feng sat down where the Pathfinder stage used to be. He looked calm and composed. He was convinced that what had happened in the restaurant would quickly end up in the ears of the members of the Ji clan. Would Ji Chong show up though? Some people had followed, and were waiting with Lin Feng. Would Ji Chong show up? A group of people showed up, great emperors from the great imperial palace. Pei Dong Lai, Feng Shen Tian. Those people are the geniuses of the previous generation, and they are becoming stronger and stronger. In a few years, Chu Chunxiu and the others would also become great emperors, mused the crowd when they saw all those geniuses. On the path of cultivation, the waves behind pushed the waves ahead of them. There were many geniuses in the world, and new geniuses kept rising all the time, like that cultivator in black clothes. In the distance, someone else arrived. He was wearing a black cloak and had an evil air about him. Geely. It's Geely. He suffered a few crushing defeats back then on the Pathfinder day and left. Now he's here again. He must have heard that someone wanted to fight against Ji Chong. That's why he came. The Pathfinder day was a long time ago. Oh, Shi Yunfeng is there too. The crowd noticed. Shi Yunfeng, the stone man, was also watching in the distance. I wouldn't have thought that the news would spread so quickly. Of course, Ji Chong is famous. If he had challenged someone else, it wouldn't have been like this, someone pointed out. People rarely appeared around the imperial ranking list like this. Some people of the Ji clan are here, but not Ji Chong. A group of people had appeared, all of them members of the Ji clan. There were a few great emperors among them. They were staring at Lin Feng icily. You killed some people of our clan? Demanded a great emperor, staring icily at Lin Feng. If Ji Chong kills me, you'll have your revenge. If you attack me, then it means the Ji clan is shameless. Lin Feng spat back at him. The Ji clan cultivators looked furious. They glanced around. There were many people. If they attacked Lin Feng, they would lose face. You want to die? The Ji clan will help you, said the strong Ji clan cultivator icily. Their silhouettes flickered, as if preparing to attack. And then someone else arrived. Each time he took a step, Qi burst out and made the earth and sky shake. A great emperor looked sharp and aggressive. Destruction energies rolled around him. That's Ji Chong. Ji Chong, Di Qi layer. Ji Chong has broken through. No wonder the members of the Ji clan are so confident. Ji Chong the champion has broken through. He must be much stronger than before. Even though that cultivator in black clothes is strong, he's only a high-level emperor. He'll definitely die if he fights against Ji Chong. Their opinions were nearly identical. Ji Chong had finally become a great emperor. Ji Chong and Ying Cheng were two real geniuses of the holy city, and they had both become great emperors. When champions broke through the Di Qi layer, even if not much time had passed, they were inevitably incredibly strong. When Ji Chong was still an emperor, he had few enemies. People like Chu Chunxiu and Lin Feng were rare. Now Ji Chong had broken through to the Di Qi layer, and even Chu Chunxiu and Lin Feng couldn't fight against him anymore. Ji Chong had been humiliated twice in the past. He wanted to get his revenge. Usually, people who were named champions became at least celestial emperors. Ji Chong finally stopped in front of Lin Feng and looked at him icily. He said, I am now a great emperor. I shouldn't fight against you, but you killed my people, you should die. But since you are strong and that's how you killed them, just cripple your cultivation, Ji Chong said calmly. He wanted to give this person an opportunity and display his own dominance. Lin Feng could live on, but his cultivation would be crippled. However, at that moment, the cultivator in black clothes raised his head. Black lights emerged from his eyes and drove into Ji Chang's eyes. Ji Chang, great emperor, he dares act this arrogantly now? When you were at the top of the Huangqi layer, a medium-level emperor defeated you. Now you're a great emperor and you dare act that arrogantly. You have a bad memory, Lin Feng replied, equally calmly. His voice was hoarse too, sounding like he wanted to laugh. The Ji clan cultivators frowned. This guy was mad. The crowd was also surprised. This guy dared act so arrogantly even though Ji Chang had become a great emperor. He was so self-confident. Ji Chang released energies. He could feel the familiar sting of humiliation rising again. In the future, I'll get my revenge and I'll kill Lin Feng. But first I'll kill you, Ji Chang responded indifferently. Lin Feng slowly rose into the air. Ji Chang jumped and released oppressive energies. Destructive Dao strength rolled towards Lin Feng and exploded on him. However, Lin Feng remained unmoved and just looked back at Ji Chang. What an incredible physical strength. Ji Chang released destructive energies, but he didn't move at all. Ji Chang groaned icily. He chopped down, and a cyan dragon filled with destructive energies exploded on Lin Feng, but nothing happened. Lin Feng raised his hand and punched the cyan dragon, which exploded instantly. The crowd was dumbfounded. How strong! It looked so easy for him to destroy the cyan dragon. Not bad, said Ji Chang icily. He continued attacking Lin Feng. Cyan dragons kept appearing. The space around them was starting to warp. However, Lin Feng destroyed all the attacks. The cyan dragons kept exploding. He made it look easy. Finally, Ji Chang stopped attacking. He looked at Lin Feng with admiration and said, "It's my first battle since I've become a great emperor. Even though I'm not familiar with the strength of the Di Qi layer, I should still be stronger than you. But you are stronger, that's impressive. But unfortunately today you're going to die." Ji Chang released more destruction energies. Lin Feng looked at him icily and said, "I haven't used my real strength yet." Chapter 2062. Killing Ji Chang remained silent and said coldly, "Empty words." Then, Ji Chang released even more strength and said icily, "You can't imagine how strong a great emperor is." Ji Chang chopped down again. Fissures appeared in the space. Cyan dragons roared furiously as they exploded on Lin Feng's body. If Lin Feng wasn't extremely strong, he would have died already. Lin Feng raised his fists and destroyed all the dragons, one after the other. Finally, he released empty space cosmic energy. His cosmic energies have the strength of the Di Qi layer. How's that possible? How can he be so strong? His physical strength is also unbelievable, thought the appalled crowd. When Ji Chang saw this, he shouted explosively, and a destructive hand appeared in front of Lin Feng to attack him. Lin Feng punched out. The gigantic hand was instantly blown apart. Lin Feng ascended rapidly, raising his fist and punched out in Ji Chang's direction. Ji Chang joined his hands. Dragons kept appearing and streaming towards Lin Feng's blow. However, all the dragons were destroyed. Ji Chang groaned and released even more destructive Dao strength. Lin Feng's punch slammed against him. His soul and body shook. A strong wind started blowing. Lin Feng disappeared too fast to follow. "Imprison," said Lin Feng icily. A cage made of empty space cosmic energy appeared around Ji Chang. Lin Feng reappeared and aimed towards Ji Chang's head, his fist pitch black. Demon intent surrounded him like a small sea. His cosmic energies are terrifying. He can compete with a great emperor, blurted out someone. They realized that Lin Feng's cosmic energies kept evolving. Ji Chang also realized this and grimaced. This man's cosmic energies were more powerful than he had thought. "Collapse!" shouted Ji Chang explosively. Destructive Dao kept exploding. At the same time, lights emerged from his eyes. An ancient king appeared and shot towards Lin Feng. He also threw himself at Lin Feng. It was like two cultivators were attacking Lin Feng. Lin Feng retreated as the air whistled around him. However, Ji Chang chopped down again. Space began to twist again as cyan dragons oppressed the whole area and converged on Lin Feng. When a cultivator becomes a great emperor, his strength becomes real, and even illusionary attacks are real. They also control the strength of the earth and sky much better. and their attacks are also faster. When they wave their hands, they can create rivers and destroy mountains. The crowd was shocked at all this. Lin Feng was incredible. How was he competing with a great emperor? But even this way, a great emperor was a great emperor. In the end, he was probably going to lose. At that moment, heaven and earth kept shaking. Destructive Dao strength kept exploding as it moved towards Lin Feng again. Mourn, spat Lin Feng. Ancient imprints descended from the sky. In front of him, a gigantic word appeared, mourn. The earth and sky kept shaking. Lin Feng looked like an ancient king. Nothing could influence him or crush his will. Weapon. Another imprint appeared and condensed. Lin Feng's voice carried cursing strength. A second word appeared in the air, surrounded by terrible energies. He looked like a god. His chi had already reached incredible levels. Fight. A third word appeared and condensed. The cosmos kept resonating. Energies intertwined. Destructive Dao exploded, but didn't affect Lin Feng's energies. God. Everything. Deployment. Class. Here. Words kept appearing and filling the air. Heaven and earth kept shaking. Energies kept erupting in conflict. An ancient road appeared between them, forcing a path through the explosions. Ji Chang grimaced. That was an explosive ancient incantation. Before, the 9 words condensed into an ancient imprint, even as destructive Dao exploded again. Lin Feng still looked like a god. He didn't even care about his enemies' attacks. Who is he? He has an incantation holy technique. Someone blurted out. Not only was Lin Feng extremely strong, but he also had rare spells. Now they finally thought that Ji Chang the Great Emperor might lose. The atmosphere around Ji Chang changed. A gigantic dragon appeared above him, 1,000 meters tall. Qi and destructive Dao surged around him, as he turned into a dragon, and roared furiously. Lin Feng sensed the destructive energies surrounding him. His clothes were ripped apart. However, he remained as motionless as a mountain. His 9 words condensed, and turned into a pattern. The air began to hum and vibrate all around him as strength condensed. He looked like a god. What could a dragon do against him? Cosmic strength gathered. Finally, Lin Feng jumped forwards and shouted furiously. He destroyed the destructive Dao strength. His words surged to attack and blotted out the sky. He used his incantation and his ancient holy technique attacks together. A terrifying combination. The ancient words slammed into the dragon, which roared defiantly. However, the dragon couldn't do much. Blood splashed as it was wounded. Ji Chang. When the Ji clan cultivators saw that, their faces turned deathly pale. The 9 words oppressed the cyan dragon. Ji Chang was in danger. He couldn't revert to human form. He didn't even have time to use his secret technique or weapons. The members of the Ji clan started racing towards him. They had never imagined that Ji Chang would lose. However, at the same time, Lin Feng turned into a gigantic sword and streaked across the sky. He immediately pierced through the cyan dragon's head. Everyone saw the gigantic sword appear on the other side of the dragon. The cyan dragon had been stabbed straight through. The 9 words bombarded the cyan dragon. Lights flared as the dragon fell. At that moment, everybody was stunned. That person didn't only want to defeat Ji Chang. He wanted to kill him. He wanted to kill Ji Chang, a great emperor, a champion. Everybody was astonished. They didn't believe it their eyes. Ji Chang had become a great emperor. Was Ji Chang dead? Who had killed Ji Chang? Chapter 2063. A new era. The gigantic sword had pierced right through Ji Chang's body. A soul appeared, glittering weakly. Ji Chang, let's go, shouted the Ji clan cultivators. They moved as fast as they could. However, the gigantic sword reverted to human form. Lin Feng turned around, and a river of death strength moved towards Ji Chang's weak soul and destroyed it. It dispersed and disappeared. Black water appeared and dripped down on the ground. The strong Ji clan cultivators came to a slow, disbelieving halt, faces twisting in a deathly grimace. Ji Chang was dead. Ji clan, their champion, their hero, their hope, had been killed. How would they explain this to the elders of the Ji clan? The Ji clan had always thought that Ji Chang would become a saint emperor, and now he was dead. He had been killed right in front of the imperial ranking list. Everybody was astounded, even the people who weren't from the Ji clan. Everything went eerily silent. Nobody had thought Great Emperor Jichang would be the one to die. And worse, they had never thought someone would dare kill him. Phew! Finally, someone took a deep breath and said, "It's been hundreds of years since the last time a champion was killed in the holy city." Indeed, a few hundred years. Who asked that person? Everybody was astonished and staring at the cultivator with a ravaged bamboo hat and black cloak. Who had killed Jichang? "Who are you?" demanded the strong Ji clan cultivators of Linfeng. This guy had challenged Jichang. They had thought he'd die. He was only an emperor going against a great emperor, after all. But now Jichang had been killed. He had used a river made of death energy. They had only heard of one genius who used such spells. That person was the Ji clan's worst enemy, Linfeng. In the distance, Qi flared like newborn suns. A few people appeared and landed next to Linfeng. Ancestor Shirtian. The strong Ji clan cultivators were shaking, their eyes bloodshot. Jichang had been killed, and it was on the verge of coming out into the open. A saint emperor of the Ji clan also arrived. Jichang had been killed, his talisman had been broken. He was furious, and his qi closed in on the cultivator, wearing the plaited bamboo hat. Finally, that person raised his hand to his veil, and took it off with his hat. "He's back," whispered someone after a few minutes. Everybody had thought he was dead, but now he was back in the holy city. "Who is he?" whispered someone who had never seen Linfeng. People next to him rolled their eyes and said, "Champion University Linfeng." Linfeng. The man shivered. No wonder. Jichang had lost once again to Linfeng. Linfeng, when he was a medium-level emperor, had defeated Jichang, who was a high-level emperor. Now Jichang had become a great emperor, and Linfeng had killed him as a high-level emperor. No wonder he was hiding. He's Linfeng. If the Ji clan had known that, they wouldn't have given him any chance to kill Jichang. Linfeng's name isn't even on the imperial ranking list anymore, and Jichang was second. But since he had just broken through to the Diqi layer, his name wasn't on the list anymore, and still Linfeng killed him. The crowd was wondering what would happen to the ranking list. They were stupefied. Linfeng knew that the strong Ji clan cultivators would go insane if he killed Jichang. That's why he had informed ancestor Shirtian he would do it. Jichang was a student in Champion University, and Linfeng is a student of Champion University too, and he killed him. Champion University is protecting Linfeng. The Saint Emperor of the Ji clan said icily. Even though Jichang was the champion of Champion University, there have been tensions between Jichang and Linfeng for a very long time, and Jichang's cultivation level was higher than Linfeng's. We can't say anything. If Linfeng had died, we wouldn't have said anything either. However, how come the Ji clan sends Saint Emperors each time young people fight? Replied ancestor Shirtian icily. The Ji clan Saint Emperor looked at him icily. He didn't always get involved in young people's affairs, but this time Jichang had been killed. Jichang had been a real genius. He was naturally furious. "You think you can say one sentence and resolve the situation?" swore a strong Ji clan cultivator. "I didn't say anything. If you have a young person who can kill Linfeng, just send them, we don't mind. Champion University won't get involved. If you send a terrifying cultivator to kill Linfeng though, then not only Shiju Lao Xian might get involved, but we will too, and we will destroy the Ji clan," said ancestor Shirtian indifferently. "I kill you, you kill me, those things were normal. If the Ji clan wanted to kill Linfeng, they could, but they had to send people of a comparable strength. Jichang started it all," said Linfeng icily. Things weren't over between him and the Ji clan. "Ancestor, let's go," said Linfeng calmly, as if nothing had happened. Ancestor Shirtian nodded and left. Jichang was dead. The Ji clan Saint Emperor watched the ancestor take Linfeng away, feeling like he was going to burst. He kicked a stone, and it exploded. Linfeng. Everybody understood that the Ji clan wanted to kill Linfeng. If they didn't, Linfeng would destroy them someday. Back then in Qitian Holy Town, we didn't manage to kill him. Now the consequences are tragic for us. And with Champion University and Shiju Lao Xian on his side, it will be difficult to kill him. The Ji clan cultivators clenched their fists. In the holy city, nobody would dare offend Shiju Lao Xian and Champion University. Even the Yuan clan didn't dare offend Lin Feng anymore. They had already forgotten about their tensions with Lin Feng. The battle astonished the whole city. Ji Chang had become a great emperor, and Lin Feng had still killed him. He had disappeared for a year, then reappeared and killed a great emperor in the holy city. Lin Feng was still only a high-level emperor, and he had killed a great emperor. In a short time, Lin Feng was almost as famous as Chu Chunxiu once again. Chu Chunxiu had killed great emperors, and now Lin Feng had killed great emperors too. Even though Ji Chang had just broken through to the Diqi layer, it was Ji Chang, a champion. Many people talked about the imperial ranking list. Now they wanted to see Lin Feng and Chu Chunxiu battle. Who would be stronger? People were trying to guess. Finally, the great imperial palace's people changed the ranking list. Lin Feng became second again, as he hadn't fought against Chu Chunxiu. Some people knew what Lin Feng was thinking, but Lin Feng didn't care about the great imperial palace and their list anyway. He didn't care about being on the imperial ranking list at all. Ying Cheng and Ji Chang belonged to the past now. New geniuses were rising. It was the beginning of a new era. Chu Chunxiu and Lin Feng were the new ones. It was a coincidence because Chu Chunxiu and Ying Cheng were both students at Celestial Godly University, and Lin Feng and Ji Chang were both students at Champion University. One thing was certain, Lin Feng and Chu Chunxiu were extremely talented, and they weren't weaker than Ying Cheng and Ji Chang. And Lin Feng had killed Ji Chang, a great emperor, in front of everyone. Chapter 2064. The Sword Above the Lake. After killing Ji Chang, Lin Feng went back to Champion University and Tiantai. Yin Qingyan looked at him and said in a weakly, "Just how do you practice cultivation?" "I almost died, and now I'm back but even stronger," replied Lin Feng, caressing Yin Qingyan's head. He was happy to see her and smiled. "You even dare caress my head. I'm like a big sister to you," pouted Yin Qingyan, moving away from him. This guy was audacious. Tianqi arrived and clapped Lin Feng's shoulder without saying anything. "You're back, good," said Ho Qinglin smiling. "Tiantai is going to rise. What should we do in the future? Should Tiantai become a clan or a sect?" he asked. Tiantai was becoming more and more powerful. They had great potential. They could become a powerful group in the holy city. Lin Feng, their leader, had the potential to become a saint someday. He would become a saint emperor sooner or later. And Tianqi, Wuxia, and all the core disciples studied ancient techniques and spells. They also had the celestial evolution holy scriptures, which made them even more talented. They would easily become celestial emperors sooner or later. Creating a sect or a clan would be easy. "Brother, I have so many enemies, we must be discreet." Slowly, when Tiantai rises in the holy city, nobody will be able to make us collapse, swore Lin Feng. "All right, Lin Feng, I also want to tell you some good news. Look who's there." At that moment, someone came out of a palace. So many years had passed since the last time Lin Feng had seen him. He was instantly very happy. Teacher Mu Bei Qing Tian, Emperor Yu Mu Bei, and Mo Qing Tian were there now. "Lin Feng, I feel guilty but you're all amazing." "I feel so grateful too," said Emperor Yu. He was still a medium-level emperor. Some of his disciples had already surpassed him. "Lin Feng, your fellow disciples have told me a lot. You can already kill great emperors now. You're much stronger than me now," said Mo Qing Tian, smiling and squeezing Lin Feng's shoulders. After these few years, Lin Feng was so far ahead. Mu Bei and Emperor Yu were both still medium-level emperors. Lin Feng could already kill great emperors. It was almost unreal. Many things had happened, needless to say. Cultivation is a step-by-step process. Teacher Qing Tian, Tiantai is rising again. "I wonder where Mu Chen is though," Lin Feng sighed. Mu Chen was one of the people who had influenced Lin Feng the most in his cultivation life. "Mu Chen is far more talented than I. I'm sure he'll become incredibly strong someday, and that we'll meet again," said Emperor Yu smiling. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Teacher, come have a seat. I have many ancient scriptures. You can choose some of them." Emperor Yu didn't refuse. The relations he had with his 11 direct disciples was deep. They had come out of the small world together, they had gone through a lot. Now around 10 years had passed, and they were together again. It was pure bliss. The direct disciples were all like brothers. Their 2 teachers were like parents. Lin Feng was happy to be with these people again. They chatted happily together for days. Emperor Yu had gone through lots of hardships as well. He had faced many dangers, but he was lucky. He was still alive and had finally reached the holy city. Lin Feng's spirit's world. The saint's skeleton appeared, floating in the air. Sword will pulsed around it eternally, it would never disperse. Lin Feng tried to get close to the skeleton, but his blood felt like it was going to boil. A vortex appeared. He started absorbing sword strength like a greedy beast. He used absorbing cosmic energy to devour things now. Since he had regained consciousness, he felt even more powerful, and his Tao had increased. He could already make cosmic energies evolve. He had condensed them in his fists when fighting against Ji Chang. His cosmic energies were even more powerful, those of a great emperor now. It was mainly thanks to Minister Uptila's blue Uptila lotus. Lin Feng had the sensation he hadn't really mastered Tao though. His Tao wasn't the blue Uptila lotus Tao after all. It was something different. An absorbing Holy Spirit appeared in front of Lin Feng. It absorbed the sword will. Lin Feng gradually moved closer and closer to the skeleton. At the same time, words appeared around him. The earth and sky started resonating. Finally, Lin Feng was just under the skeleton, seated cross-legged. The Holy Spirit was above the skeleton, and absorbing its sword will, while Lin Feng studied it. It was a mysterious sword energy, Kasayapa sword strength. Lin Feng had the sensation that this intent messed up time. It was difficult to escape from it. It felt like this sword had been able to destroy time. That's a Kasayapa sword. Back in the days, the Kasayapa saint was terrifying, and all the saints feared him, thought Lin Feng. He remembered the ancient battle he had been shown. Lin Feng started using the evolution techniques of the celestial evolution, holy scriptures on the sword. A sword streaked across the sky, distorting it as it did so. Lin Feng moved back. The sword appeared in front of him. Actually, it was a hallucination. He wasn't moving back, he was moving forwards. That was the power of the Kasayapa sword. Lin Feng groaned. His face became deathly pale. He sat down and continued sensing the sword's strength. At the same time, the sword kept changing thanks to the celestial evolution holy scriptures. Lin Feng hoped he'd be able to control the sword's spirit and marrow. Of course, Lin Feng knew he couldn't use it like the saint had yet. Lin Feng studied for a long time, and then came out of his meditation. He was thinking that such spells would be good for the assassins of Tiantai, who Jingshou was responsible for. He had created a subgroup in Tiantai, the Party of Darkness. The people who joined Tiantai were all extraordinary. Many people wanted to join Tiantai, because many of the people who joined Tiantai became much stronger quickly, not like Ji Chang's club. Also, Tiantai was a harmonious group who helped one another. Many people wanted to join Champion University just to join Tiantai. So what is the news? Lin Feng asked Jingshou. This news is useful for you, said Jingshou, handing a jade talisman over to Lin Feng. Lin Feng put his godly awareness into it and nodded. Continue. Don't stop. You can continue expanding the Party of Darkness. I'll also give you some skills, techniques, and spells for the Party of Darkness. Good. Jingshou nodded. I'm off, said Lin Feng, and he left. A new genius of the Pei clan, Pei Yu, invited some friends to have a picnic by the lake. There were many stunning women with them. They were all chatting and having fun together. Brother Pei Yu, Lin Feng recently killed Ji Chang. Everybody was astonished. Everybody says it's a new era. I think you'll become a peerless cultivator someday. There are many geniuses in the holy city. Chu Chunqiu and Lin Feng are incredible. There's Do Zhanseng too. I need to practice and become stronger, said Pei Yu humbly. Many people in the holy city found him very strong already. Someday, he'd probably surpass Pei Donglai. The friends were chatting happily. In the distance, someone wearing white clothes and carrying a sword on his back appeared. He looked confident and at ease. Look over there. How swift. He must be so strong. Pei Yu, said the person in the distance extremely loudly. Peiyu was stupefied and stood up, shouting back, I'm Peiyu. Who are you, Your Excellency? Suddenly, sword chi streaked across the sky towards them. Explosions rent the air. Those people's faces changed drastically and they shouted furiously, Insolent! The cultivator continued advancing on them. Sword lights glittered, cutting open the space. Peiyu screamed, just before he exploded apart, and the pieces of his body spread all over the ground. The cultivator with the sword in his back continued moving on swiftly. He looked confident and at ease. One sword attack, and he had killed Peiyu. Chapter 2065. The Pei clan's nightmare. Peiyu was a genius of the Pei clan, and he was rising. He was extremely talented. In less than a year, he had become the 13th cultivator on the imperial ranking list, a great achievement. He had the potential to become the 5th in the future. His future was supposed to be brighter than Pei Donglai's. However, Lin Feng had killed him by the lake. One sword attack and he had died. Peiyu hadn't even had time to react. Even though it wasn't comparable to Ji Chang's story, many people still heard about it in the Holy City. For the Pei clan, it was a tragedy. Peiyu was one of the most outstanding young people of the Pei clan in a long time. Everybody had been paying attention to him. His death was an outright humiliation. And it was only the beginning. 3 days later, Pei Dongqing was in a restaurant and someone, a sword cultivator, killed him. 5 days later, 8 geniuses of the Pei clan had been killed, all by the same sword cultivator. No exception. The Pei clan didn't even know who their enemy was. In the end, the Pei clan didn't allow their emperors to go out alone anymore. They always went out with great emperors, and they all carried great imperial weapons. However, 20 days later, by the lake, 2 great emperors and 4 emperors were caught there and killed. They even had great imperial weapons. The one who had killed them was wearing white clothes and had a sword. His face was yellowish. He looked sick, but he was terrifyingly strong. In a single month, the Pei clan lost 8 great emperors and 36 emperors. The whole city was astonished. The Pei clan's celestial emperors started paying attention. They were ready to react any time, but it was too late. The celestial emperors of the Pei clan were furious. It was a great tragedy for the clan. Many people in the Holy City were talking about the one who had killed so many strong cultivators from the Pei clan. Who was he? He was an emperor, but his sword attacks were terrifying. 8 great emperors had died at his hands. The assassin always looked for the weakest great emperors of the Pei clan. His swords were faster than great emperors and deadly. Ordinary great emperors couldn't escape from him. A palace of the Pei clan. Everybody was furious. Nobody said anything, they just looked to their leader. The leader of the Pei clan was initially meditating in seclusion, but he had come out because of these events. He didn't mind if a few emperors died, but dozens? And great emperors? Besides, it wasn't over. Maybe the assassin was going to kill even more of their people. What if all their emperors died? That would be a true disaster. Have we offended anyone? Asked the leader of the Pei clan icily. He didn't understand the assassin's purpose. We have only offended Champion University, answered someone. Back then, they had, along with 3 other ancient holy clans, surrounded Champion University. They had wanted to capture Lin Feng back then. And more precisely Lin Feng. Of course, by offending Lin Feng, we also offended people who support him. However, the assassin is just an emperor, and he can kill great emperors. He killed Peiyu in one sword strike. He's very talented. I think it must be Lin Feng. Someone ventured icily. The others were shocked. You think it's Lin Feng? But from what I've heard, he's different. We're in the Holy City. Many people have incredible disguising techniques. Lin Feng also practices sword cultivation, and his sword attacks are terrifying. The leader of the clan remained silent, and then said, Since it's that way, let's convoke some emperors and great emperors, some strong ones. All right, good, agreed the crowd. No matter who the assassin was, they had to find him. In the Holy City, the Pei clan wasn't the only clan who was trying to understand who the assassin was. Many people tried to guess too, and they were also trying to guess what the Pei clan was going to do. So many of their cultivators had been killed, they had to respond. Many strong cultivators of the Pei clan dispersed in the Holy City. One of them was Pei Zhu. He was also a little bit famous in the Holy City, as he was on the imperial ranking list. At that moment he was walking down a road and glancing around. He looked ordinary. Suddenly, some sword chi filled the air around him. Pei Zhu was astonished and took a deep breath. Sword lights glittered and moved towards him. Pei Zhu waved his hands, and a powerful strength emerged. People on the road fled instantly. At the same time, an invisible and intangible sword descended from the sky towards him. In the distance, a cultivator in white clothes looked calm and composed. He had a sword in his back. He's there. Pei Zhu was stupefied. A terrifying light beam emerged from his third eye and moved towards the cultivator in white clothes. When the cultivator in white clothes saw that, he flitted away instantly. Where are you going? The light beam had suddenly turned into a person and shot towards the cultivator in white clothes. The bystanders continued fleeing. The cultivator in white clothes moved away at the speed of light. Pei Zhu kept attacking, smiling coldly all the while. But at that moment, there was a whistling sound of air parting. Pei Zhu's face stiffened. He jumped backwards as he saw an illusion move towards him. Oh no! Pei Zhu's face turned deathly pale. He ran away as fast as he could, but it was useless. He couldn't compete with that speed. Pei Zhu disappeared with the silhouette. The illusion finally caught up with the cultivator in white clothes. He raised his fist and punched out. The man in white clothes instantly disappeared with a pop, stunning the attacker. He turned around and gazed into the distance. Pei Zhu wasn't there anymore. A clone, how stupid! The man was infuriated. He went back, but he couldn't find Pei Zhu anymore. Arg! That person waved his hands, and the buildings around him exploded. He released his godly awareness, which turned into yet another strong cultivator. He was really strong, but Lin Feng had still kidnapped Pei Zhu in front of him. After a short time, the same thing happened again. A young man from the Pei clan was taking a walk, and an invisible and intangible sword strength moved towards him. The cultivator saw some sword lights and destroyed them. However, after that, more sword energies converged on him, and he retreated quickly. More sword lights moved towards him. His face turned deathly pale. Where were those sword lights coming from? He couldn't see anyone. Finally, lights glittered and emerged from his third eye, turning into a silhouette. However, at that moment the young man disappeared. Who's there? Howled the strong cultivator. He released his godly awareness and inspected the area. However, he only saw many clones running away, and he could only chase one. He did so and destroyed one, but it was just a clone. Chasing someone who could clone himself was nearly impossible. Many people from the Pei clan weren't strong enough, and were cut apart without even having time to react. That month became a nightmare for the Pei clan. Even the leader was furious. So many of their young people were killed. It was a nightmare. Many people didn't even dare leave the Pei clan anymore. The Pei clan was panicking. They had never thought something like this would ever happen to them. And the murderer was only an emperor. Chapter 2066. Woken up? Everybody in the Holy City was talking about the Pei clan. The Pei clan was an ancient holy clan, and a mere emperor was killing so many of their people. Such a thing had never happened in the Holy City. The murderer probably hated them to the bone. Everybody was wondering who the murderer was. At the same time, the Pei clan also assigned all their great emperors to protect their emperors. They didn't just protect them with their godly awareness, but personally. Even taking such actions, some people were still killed by that sword cultivator. Each time the sword appeared, they had no time to escape. Some other people also disappeared mysteriously. The Pei clan was busy every day trying to find the murderer. Pei Donglai finally came out of the great imperial palace. He was determined. He had to kill this assassin who didn't dare show his face. But nothing happened. Something else happened on that day, however, astonishing the whole city again. 25 emperors of the Ji clan were killed by the same person. The Ji clan and the Pei clan were going through the same calamity. After Ji Chang's death, the Ji clan had been humiliated, and now it was even worse. At that moment, the Ji clan was furious. They decided to meet with the Pei clan They wanted to avenge their people. The murderer was an assassin, but he was terrifyingly strong. He could kill great emperors. Everything pointed to Lin Feng. The Ji clan and the Pei clan had both offended Lin Feng. Everybody in the holy city was astonished when they learned that the Pei clan and the Ji clan wanted to join hands to kill Lin Feng. Was Lin Feng that strong? Lin Feng hated them. After having killed so many of their people, Lin Feng stopped for a while, knowing that if he encountered some members of the Pei clan or Ji clan, they would be merciless. They wouldn't kill him, but they would at least cripple his cultivation. Lin Feng was talking about cultivation with his friends from Tiantai, when he was cleansed by Devamara Culpa strength the 6th time. Lin Feng also bathed in the demon pond 2 more times. His physical strength was far beyond his cultivation now. Lin Feng didn't know what his limits were in terms of physical strength, but he knew that he could crush great emperors in one punch. He was becoming more and more brutal, and when he used his Devamara body and his Devamara Culpa strength, his attacks were even more explosive. When everyone was thinking that Lin Feng wouldn't dare show up anymore, 3 great emperors, 2 from the Ji clan and 1 from the Pei clan were killed. Many people were astonished. Even though they were ordinary great emperors, Lin Feng could kill them as if they were insects, which was unbelievable. Even if some great emperors didn't understand Tao, they were still very strong, but Lin Feng could still kill them easily. Great emperors seemed weak in comparison to Lin Feng. Or was Lin Feng too strong? Some people wondered whether Lin Feng was the only murderer. The Ji clan and the Pei clan couldn't stand it anymore. Lin Feng had killed so many people. Many people in the city were convinced that he wasn't acting alone, or he couldn't have killed people on both the Pei clan and the Ji clan's territories at the same time. He was definitely backed up by Champion University. The Ji clan and the Pei clan started going to the other ancient holy clans to convince them to help them find and kill Lin Feng. However, the Yuan clan and the Ying clan refused. They weren't stupid and didn't want to offend Lin Feng. They could only watch from the sidelines. At the same cultivation level, apart from Chu Chunxiu, nobody could challenge Lin Feng. And if anyone stronger attacked Lin Feng, sure Zhu Lao Xian and Champion University would be furious. Everybody was wondering who was stronger between Lin Feng and Chu Chunxiu. They really wanted to see them battle. The Ji clan and the Pei clan dispatched many strong cultivators to surround Champion University, just like the last time when the 4 ancient holy clans had surrounded Champion University. However, 2 ancient holy clans were far less strong than 4. 4 saint emperors appeared again, demanding an explanation from Champion University. Those people are really bastards. Surprisingly, they dare act recklessly in Champion University. I hope we can teach them a good lesson. Poor ancient holy clans. Lin Feng killed so many of their people. It's a tragedy for them. They can only rely on saint emperors. When the members of Champion University saw those people, they didn't have the same impression as before. They just found these people ridiculous. Lin Feng had pushed them to their limits. Someone appeared in the university. When the crowd saw him, they were astonished. There was a giant. He looked like an ancient cultivator dash. When the 4 saint emperors saw the giant, they were astonished. A saint. According to legends, Lin Feng could control a saint. They had imagined the scene back in Qitian Holy Town. They were just wondering why he hadn't used the saint the 2nd time, when the Snow clan had come back. However, now he was there in front of them. The hearts of the Pei and Ji clansmen beat wildly. If the saint went to their clans, the consequences would be tragic. The giant walked up to them, gigantic footprints appearing behind him. The 4 saint emperors released qi, getting ready to flee in case of danger. The saint made their souls shake. Is it funny to send saint emperors all the time? Asked the giant in a cold and detached way. The 4 saint emperors shuddered as one asked, Are you Lin Feng or a saint? I'll warn you only once. If you do this again, I'll go to the Pei clan and the Ji clan, and I'll slaughter everyone. Qin Shan the saint won't hesitate, said Qin Shan icily. The crowd was shaking. Saint Qin Shan. Was it Lin Feng or Qin Shan? Piss off. The 4 saint emperors left immediately without saying anything. They were too frightened to have any resistance. The Ji clan and the Pei clan are in danger, everyone knew. They could imagine how the two clans felt. Their elders couldn't fight, and their young people kept getting killed. The saint turned around and walked back. Lin Feng wasn't going to use the saint's body to kill people. Even though Qin Shan had recovered a little, if he fought too much with his body, then the saint might die. Controlling his body to walk wasn't a problem, however. The Pei clan and the Ji clan could only send cultivators to fight against Lin Feng and challenge him officially. Pei Donglai challenged Lin Feng to a battle on the Pathfinder battle stage. In the cultivation world, a great emperor challenging an emperor was a real disgrace, but they were shameless. But the Ji clan and the Pei clan had no choice, as nobody below Great Emperor could fight against Lin Feng. Lin Feng ignored Pei Donglai's challenge. It meant nothing to him. He had just started getting his revenge. In his spirit world, Lin Feng was lying on the ground, watching that sleeping beauty and smiling. He stretched out his hand and caressed her face, saying gently, "You, I'm not a Saint Emperor yet, but I'll destroy the Ji clan when I get there." Each time Lin Feng killed a member of the Ji clan, he thought of the Saint Emperor, who had attacked Yu. He hated himself. He needed to reconcile that hate. "I know. I used to ignore you in the past. You sensed it, so you protected me in secret. You risked your life to save me. If you wake up, I will apologize. You've always been in my heart," said Lin Feng, smiling and caressing her. At that moment, she moved her hand. Chapter 2067. A sword from the sky. Lin Feng didn't notice she had moved a few fingers, but suddenly, she emerged from her body. Lin Feng frowned. You. Lin Feng smiled and said, You heard me, right? Hurry up and wake up. We'll go to the Holy Spirit Dynasty together. We'll go see our child. I wonder how Qiongxing is doing. We are his parents, we should take care of him. He must be almost 2 years old." When Yu heard Lin Feng, her chi became even more powerful. She moved her hand again. Lin Feng noticed it this time. She's going to wake up. Lin Feng was truly happy. The medicine the tribe had given them was incredible. Her organs were finally recovered. Lin Feng grabbed her hand and smiled. Yu, stop sleeping, it's been more than a year now." Her chi reached its limit, and suddenly she opened her eyes. She looked so beautiful. She looked at him and blinked, so cute dash. Yu. Lin Feng was very happy. He jumped into her arms and kissed her on the lips. Yu's eyes twinkled shyly. Lin Feng, you. Tang Yu looked shy and cute, all at the same time. Lin Feng burst into laughter and said, "You're still shy after all that happened." When she heard him, she blushed even more and pouted. She didn't dare look him in the eyes. "You're even avoiding my eyes," grinned Lin Feng. He was so happy he hugged her even tighter. He lowered his head and kissed her on the lips again. She tried to dodge though. "We have a baby, and you're acting like one," said Lin Feng, laughing and kissing her over and over again. Tang Yu was helpless. Lin Feng was very extroverted at this time. Tang Yu seemed to have forgotten that she was stronger than Lin Feng. However, when he hugged her, she felt powerless. Finally, he stopped kissing her and looked at her. She said, "What were you saying when I woke up?" Lin Feng shook his head and smiled. "Did I say anything?" You said you wanted to tell me something," said Tang Yu. He had promised. "All right, it doesn't matter." "Haha," said Lin Feng, laughing loudly. He put his hands under her clothes. She looked even more shy. "You bastard," said Yu. "You just learned about that," said Lin Feng. Woo. After a long time, no more sounds spread through the air. Yu was lying in his arms. She looked like a flower and had a big smile on her face. "Little Yu, let's go and see my parents," smiled Lin Feng. Tang Yu still looked uncomfortable. "All right," said Yu, nodding nervously. Lin Feng took Tang Yu to meet Lin Hai and Yu Menghe. They knew Tang Yu. They had even seen her sleeping. They were happy she had woken up. "Mother, father," said Tang Yu. Even though she was shy, she had to control herself. "And after all these years?" "All right, little Lin Feng was worried about you, and finally you woke up." When little Lin Feng brings Mengqing back, we'll organize a big ceremony, with Wuxiang too, smiled Yu Menghe. Qiu Yu Xan also arrived and said to Tang Yu, "Sister Yu, you finally woke up." "Sister Yu Xan," said Tang Yu gently. Xiao Yu Xian smiled and said, Sister Yu, you know me. Yes, I've been paying attention to all of you. Tang Yu smiled. When Lin Feng saw they got along well, he was happy. He still had to practice cultivation really hard to bring Meng Qing and Xian Yi back. He was definitely going to go to the Snow Clan. Lin Feng spent some time in his spirit world. He gave Tang Yu many powerful spells, skills and techniques. He also spent some time with her, assuaging his guilt. She was extremely strong. So with the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures and some other skills and techniques, she'd become even more terrifying. Every day, some members of the Pei clan and the Ji clan wanted to fight against Lin Feng. Pei Donglai was trying to provoke Lin Feng. He said he could kill Lin Feng easily. They made fun of him. They said he could only attack people by surprise. They were actually very nervous about Lin Feng. He had killed so many of their emperors and great emperors. However, if they had seen how happy Lin Feng looked these days, they would have been even more furious. Lin Feng, when are we going to Qitian Holy Town? Asked Tang Yu. She wanted to see her baby Lin Xiongsheng. He was almost 2 years old now. Let's relax. Let's kill people of the Ji clan and the Pei clan. Those 2 clans who attacked you back on that day. After that, we'll go back to Qitian Holy Town. There are still things going on with the historical remains. And I also need to settle accounts with the Tianxi dynasty and the ancient Jade dynasty, said Lin Feng. He was angry at the Ji clan and the Pei clan. But since he couldn't destroy them, he could at least continue killing the people he could kill. All right, agreed Tang Yu. Yu, what will happen if you go back to the Holy Spirit dynasty? Asked Lin Feng. She couldn't leave the Holy Spirit dynasty. That's why she had acted as if she didn't know him. The Holy Spirit dynasty had saved her life and made her what she had become. Lin Feng, what do you think? Asked Tang Yu. We can transmit the Holy Spirit natural godly skill to the Holy Emperor, as well as a few ancient holy scriptures. They can raise Qiongsheng. That way they will feel grateful. All right, that's fine, said Tang Yu gently. They left Lin Feng's spirit's world, arriving in Tiantai. Tiantai was now as big as a sect. Everybody was busy doing things, practicing cultivation, traveling and so on. So Lin Feng wasn't worried. Regarding becoming a champion, Lin Feng was even less interested. Like Chu Chun Qiu, he hadn't become a champion. It was a useless title. Pei Donglai appeared at the Pathfinder stage every day. He wanted to kill Lin Feng. Some people came every day and saw him each time. Time passed though and people understood that Lin Feng wouldn't come. The Ji clan and the Pei Donglai didn't dare ambush Lin Feng, so he didn't need to reply to Pei Donglai's provocations. This time, however, Pei Donglai was a bit surprised. In the distance, clouds appeared and a strong wind started blowing. Sword energies. Pei Donglai's eyes twinkled. Purple chi appeared around him. He slowly rose into the air. Is he here? Many people sensed the terrifying sword intent, and were both astonished and wary. A sword was approaching the plaza. It turned into a light beam, and moved towards Pei Donglai. Finally you came, said Pei Donglai. Lightning chi surged out towards the gigantic sword. However, the gigantic sword destroyed the lightning chi, and continued moving towards Pei Donglai. Pei Donglai grunted icily. The air hummed as his purple chi surged. He waved his hands, and a gigantic purple hand appeared in the sky. Chapter 2068. Lin Xiongsheng's spirit. The gigantic sword was vibrating loudly as it collided with the gigantic hand. Purple energies exploded, steel whined and shrieked. Pei Donglai's gigantic purple hand shook violently. His lightning energies turned into 8,000 sharp blades, and moved towards the gigantic sword. What a terrifying attack! 8,000 purple lightning bolts, each as sharp as blades. That attack should kill any high-level emperor, thought the wondering crowd. Pei Donglai was furious. He knew who his enemy was when he saw the sword. When Pei Donglai was at the top of the Huangqi layer, he was third on the ranking list. Even though it wasn't as good as Lin Feng, he's a great emperor now, so he should still be stronger than Lin Feng. How could he lose? The onlookers wondered. His 8,000 thunders streaked across the skies, blades of living lightning. The gigantic sword looked indestructible and unstoppable, and contained a foreboding strength that absorbed the force of the earth and sky. Nothing could stop it. Die! Shouted Pei Donglai explosively. His 8,000 threads of purple chi condensed and moved towards the gigantic sword. Thunder broke and shook everything as the point of collision exploded. The gigantic sword finally stopped moving forwards. Pei Donglai released more lightning energies as he turned into a gigantic figure and shot towards Lin Feng. However, at the same time, a black cloak flickered and turned into 3,000 illusions. Pei Donglai had the sensation millions of people were attacking him. He felt great pressure. Pei Donglai's face stiffened. The gigantic man glanced around. That wasn't Lin Feng. It was a woman. Piss off! Shouted Pei Donglai explosively. Gigantic purple hands struck out all around him. However, they all exploded. A hand crashed onto his gigantic man, and it exploded, forcing Pei Donglai to reappear as he was hurled back. However, the illusions surrounded him and punched him. His face turned deathly pale. When the strong cultivators of the Pei clan saw that, their faces changed drastically. Their Saint Emperors had surrounded Champion University, and then had come back. Since that moment, their Saint Emperors hadn't shown up again. However, at this moment, the chi which was attacking Pei Donglai was a Saint Emperor's chi. No! The crowd heard someone scream. There was a massive explosion in the distance. The 3,000 illusions condensed, and Pei Donglai disappeared. He was dead. The faces of the members of the Pei clan turned deathly pale. They were staring at the woman and Lin Feng. He shouted furiously. Lin Feng, Pei Donglai wanted a fair fight against you and you plotted against him, bastard. The Pei clan is really funny, retorted Lin Feng, glancing at those people. How amusing. A great emperor fighting against an emperor is a fair fight. A Saint Emperor tried to kill me. That's also fine for the Pei clan. Emperors of the Pei clan don't even dare come out. Saint Emperors come to find me. That's your concept of fairness? Said Lin Feng mockingly. He flitted away and smiled at Tang Yuyu. When I become a Saint Emperor, I'll go to the Pei clan and we'll talk about fairness. His voice resonated far away. The crowd understood that Lin Feng wanted to destroy the Pei clan and the Ji clan. He wasn't playing fairness. The Pei clan had sent Saint Emperors to surround Champion University, and now the Pei clan's emperors didn't even dare come out anymore. Their words were ridiculous. Pei Donglai had been killed. The Pei clan was mortified. A high-level emperor was killing all the most talented cultivators of the Pei clan. It was a tragedy for the Pei clan. People like Pei Donglai were too rare. The Great Imperial Palace was also affected. Pei Donglai was a member of the Great Imperial Palace. But Lin Feng didn't think about the Great Imperial Palace at all. He didn't care about them in their list. However, Lin Feng didn't even think about the Great Imperial Palace. He only thought of the Pei clan. The Pei clan and the Ji clan were going to regret crossing him. Yu had almost been killed. Meng Qing had been taken away. Nobody could imagine how Lin Feng felt. He would never forget that they had surrounded him to kill him, including the Snow clan. 3 great emperors and 20 emperors of the Ji clan had fallen, and 2 great emperors and 7 emperors of the Pei clan had fallen in one day. Lin Feng had planned this massacre for a while. The Pei clan and the Ji clan were infuriated again. Lin Feng simply hid once more. At the same time, Champion University stopped recruiting people from the Pei clan and the Ji clan. If the Ji clan and the Pei clan dared attack a student of Champion University, the ancestors would personally punish them. The holy city was astonished, while the Ji clan and the Pei clan remained silent. They were ancient holy clans. This was pouring salt on their wounds. Champion University had publicly announced that they would not recruit students from the Ji clan and the Pei clan anymore. How humiliating. The people of the holy city understood that Champion University was on Lin Feng's side, and the 2 clans might even disappear from the holy city someday if Lin Feng became extremely strong. The Ji clan and the Pei clan were being jointly humiliated by Champion University and Lin Feng. What could they do? And what if Lin Feng became extremely strong? They would be destroyed. However, Lin Feng didn't care about all those conjectures. After he left, he went to see the ancestors. and they talked about a few things nobody knew about. At Chitian Holy Town, even though the atmosphere was less lively, there were still some strong cultivators interested in the historical remains. People still wondered who the chained cultivators in the historical remains were. Lin Feng arrived back at the Holy Spirit dynasty. When they saw Lin Feng and Tang Yu come back safe and sound, the dynasty were pleasantly surprised. Lin Feng was the father of one of their future holy emperors, and Tang Yu was also an important person to them. Lin Feng was crouching down in a courtyard. In front of him was a cute little baby. He was 2 years old, and his eyes kept twinkling. He was wearing a little robe. He looked at Lin Feng and then at the holy emperor. "Xiongsheng, don't you want to see your parents? They're in front of you now," smiled the holy emperor. The little boy walked up to Lin Feng, pointed at him with his little finger, and asked, "You're my father?" "Yes," Lin Feng smiled. "Oh, if you're my father, then I must have inherited your spirit. Show me your spirit," said the little boy, looking pensive. Lin Feng was a little surprised and smiled. "Show me your spirit first, and I'll show you mine." "All right," said the little boy. An endless number of little dragons appeared behind him. When Lin Feng saw that, he was astonished. Xiongsheng was already a Tian-level cultivator. His spirit had awakened. Lin Feng had cold sweats. He was even embarrassed to show his spirit. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.